episode of UK Karate Podcast. This evening we have Sensei Stuart Amos
Hello.
in the studio with us. How are we, Sensei?
Cold. How are you?
Cold. Yes, I do. It is a little fresh in here.
Do the next one in the summer, right?
Yes, well, hopefully you've got your good self and Sensei John Gardner up in March.
Yeah.
So that would be good to get both of you chaps on the podcast together as well. But did you have a good Christmas?
Oh yeah, it was great. Thanks. Yeah, your guys good?
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, it was nice just to switch off.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you leading into that really? Like, do you find that being, a full-time instructor as you are, traveling here, there, and everywhere throughout the year, usually when you've got December in sight, is it like?
Yeah.
Rest
December
time.
is my one definite time off. I take 2 weeks off. Club's closed. Like I do minimal training, like the odd stretch. But that is because it's the only real time I have off. Yeah. Really. So I enjoy it.
I mean, I remember, like, especially with running the old club, like you'd get, because we didn't shut through summer or anything again, just because you would get like a lot of underprivileged kids that weren't fortunate enough to go on holiday or anything like that, and so you go all the way through the summer, and then December's in sight, and you're like, I need a break.
Counting down to be sure.
So was it lots of indulging, or do you?
I enjoy myself at Christmas.
Yeah.
As you say, it's 50 weeks of the year, right? Non-stop. I think, Keely and I took the boys to Disneyland in August, and I think we had 5 days in Portugal in February. So what's that? Like 8 days off in 50 weeks. Yeah, so Christmas is my complete shutdown and, relax.
Do you, obviously I know that, you living in Liverpool, do you go like and stay with family?
Yeah. So like both, like Keely's dad's side of the family lives in Liverpool, but my family's down south, her family's down south, her other half of the family's down south. So yeah, we just went down a few days at her mum's, a few days at my mum's, and then back to Liverpool for the week before we went back. Yeah, it's nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
good.
As we do with all the podcasts, let's take it back to the beginning. You started karate at the age of 6.
Yeah, in 2000.
Yeah. So, what made a young Stuart Amos? Not that you're not old, but not started the new year. Well, here, Andy. What started a 6-year-old Stuart Amos? On the road to karate? Was it something you always wanted to do?
No, not really. So we used to do swimming lessons after school, me and my schoolmates. So we just went and we just saw a leaflet, karate lessons. That was it. No Bruce Lee story or Jackie Chan story, nothing like that. It was like, that's a leaflet. That'll do. Yeah. That was us. So that was like, a Thursday evening maybe. We turned up on the Saturday. Yeah. I've done it ever since.
Was it, obviously 6 years old. Some kids, again, like just straight in, look at this. I'm getting, kicking, punching, blocking. Can you think back and think that you was, quite apprehensive in any way with going into your first class?
It was a long time ago, right? Yeah. So, but no, I just remember we went along. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. And I think I started doing it twice a week, every week, when I started, and that was it. And obviously just more as we went along. I started with 2 mates. When we got to brown belt, they stopped. Yeah. And my mum was like, well, your mates have stopped. Do you want to carry on? I was like, well, yeah, I love it. And that was it.
Yeah, it's, again, like that there is the thing of like, oh, your mates have stopped. Do you want to stop? Like,
yeah,
I'm sure you see it. Again, you're teaching full time. Like we see it as like, it's like a very strange thing to say, isn't it? Like, your friends have stopped.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those where you start as a group, you stop as a group, maybe, and obviously by that time I'd made other friends in the club, who perhaps maybe my mum didn't know as well, because the mates I started with, obviously I knew them from a young age, and so my parents sort of knew their parents, and so didn't have that same perhaps relationship with the karate friends at that stage. But
yeah. Well, when you first started, what would you say that obviously you're going with your friends, but what sort of like was there anything in particular that like grabbed you with it? the fact that you could see people kicking, head high, or
maybe I think like Lyndon Huckle Sensei, who was my first instructor, and like lucky to still like train with him and teach with him and like really good friends with him now, right? I just remember him being like really, really good. He was great with kids and still is a really funny guy and a good instructor. And he made the classes very hard, but it was fun and it was challenging and it was rewarding. Very, very physical, from the get-go.
Because 2000, obviously, like some of the previous guests we've had on talking about like starting in this, like even the late 60s, 70s, when it was training sessions were like
a bloodbath.
There's like very, very like hard sessions, obviously starting in 2000, like what would you, what made it in your mind that it was a hard, like, it was a tough session?
I mean, like we did pads virtually every class, sprints, hitting the pad, fighting, kata. We'd do a lot of kata. We would do a lot of kata. So I remember like doing kankudai 21 times in a row and stuff like that. It was just the physicality of it all was immense, and then
just pick the shortest kata to do those times. And Lyndon would always structure it in such a way that there'd be the seniors training in front of you. Okay.
So he would always put that target on their back.
Yes.
It's like, these are the guys, be better than them. And then, as we became the senior grades, the target would be on our backs. So they'd be chasing us and we'd be trying to stay ahead, right? So there was always that...
And did you have that, feel like you had that accountability as well once you became a higher grade, that you did feel that sort
like
of
Lyndon had
target?
Teaching, from quite a young age. So I got my black belt at 11 with Lyndon. And straight away, it was like, right, you get into white and red belt classes and you go teach those kids and they are your responsibility. Like they have to learn their kata by the end of this class and that's up to you. And like I say this now, right, all kids want is to be older. That's all they want. You talk to, I can't wait till I'm older so I can do this and this and this and this. So Lyndon gave the responsibility of an adult to a child, which then makes you go, I do have that importance. I do have this responsibility.
And some kids will take that as well and run with that, right?
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Then there's some that like
will step away from it. And I think especially, like with Lyndon's group, and I know the same with a lot of other groups, because Lyndon was independent when I joined him, so he wasn't with an association; it was just him. You couldn't take your sandan until you were 21. Which, as I said, is the same for a lot of groups. So, I got my showdown at 11, knee down at 13. What do you do for 8 years? Because when we were with Lyndon, we did 1 or 2 competitions a year. Okay. It wasn't really a priority in the club. We just trained. So what do? Well, you teach. And then, you're part of that process and watching these young guys come through. Well, we were young, but these younger kids come through and. When Lyndon did gradings, the black belts would be sat next to him, and he'd be like, who taught them that? And blah, 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 blah. And, oh, good job. And that's rubbish. And, so you were made to be a part of the group.
Yeah. We've, even when we were with the JK, the black belts were generally, or the ones assisting with the teaching at the club was generally on the table like that. And it puts a lot of pressure on you because it's like, if it's not going right, it's right. Whose student's this?
Yeah,
sure.
And it's something that we've done as well, now in the, with the HDKI. But it's, I think like you say, it puts a lot of onus, doesn't it? Like on them to really start like, we've got to make sure this is right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And having a standard.
This is it as well.
So Lyndon Sensei, who had taught him?
Gosh, so Kanazawa Sensei was like, Lyndon used to travel all over Europe to train with Kanazawa Sensei. He was with the KGB for a time, was good friends with Terry O'Neill Sensei, and I think he was definitely his main sort of instructor inspiration within the KGB. So he was close to Terry within that group, and then sort of it was before I started karate. a friend of Lyndon's called Lawrence Sensei, who's still teaching now, based out Milton Keynes, very good friends with Lyndon, basically said, you want to go full-time with karate, I can set you up in the area that Lyndon was teaching with a couple of clubs, and you can just crack on and do your own thing and actually make a career out of this. You know, I know Lyndon won't mind me telling this story, but I remember when Lyndon left KGB, Bob Poynton called him up and said, "Oh, what are you doing, Lyndon? Why are you leaving? Why are you leaving?" Lyndon said, "Well, you know, I'm like got my wife, got a baby on the way. You know, I need to make some money." And Bob said, "You know, money isn't everything." And Lyndon said, "Yeah, but it helps." You know, and that was sort of it. You know, and like Lyndon's always been a bit independent. You know, like there was a like I say, he was with the KGB, but he used to be close to Kanazawa Sensei, and back in a time where sort of maybe you weren't meant to
rock the boat like that.
So there was a picture of him competing at the KGB Nationals in the magazine, and then on the next page there was a picture of him competing at the Skiff Nationals. Okay. And it's like you got a few phone calls about that. Do you know? Because you weren't meant to do that. But yeah, so Lyndon was always
he crossed trained. How dare he?
Terrible. But yeah, so he always had that, you know, independent streak. But from that, you know, he would always get guest instructors coming down to the club, like brilliant guest instructors like George Best Sensei. And,
that must have been quite forward thinking then, because again, like we know that this thing of we know like a lot that, you know, getting guest instructors, like for some reason is a lot of the time frowned upon if it's not within your own group.
Yeah, this is it. But Lyndon was good karate, right? Yeah. And he was, these guys were his friends, you know. So the first KGB instructor I trained with was Randy Williams Sensei, who's unfortunately passed away now. But he was brilliant, you know. I wasn't in the KGB, but Lyndon got Randy down like several times, you know. And it was awesome. Sean Roberts Sensei, like trained with him. Brilliant karate man. You know, I'm so
sad. I missed Sean Roberts.
It's awesome, like ahead of his time to be sure. And even instructors from different styles, right? So a man called Akio Minakami, who did Shitoru, and he like I would love to train with him again. Like I didn't appreciate how good he was when I was younger, but he was a genius, you know. And Lyndon would get all of these guys to the club. Dave Hatter Sensei. You know, Lyndon got him to the club one time, so I trained with him when I was young.
I would love to have trained with.
Yeah, so and again, like Lyndon wasn't in any group, just from his connections, from his friendships. Please come to my dojo, and that was it. So like, I didn't even realize it was an issue to train.
As it was with
other people.
Yeah, but like there, as a student within a club, you're generally protected of any of that from your instructor.
This is it.
They wouldn't know. You wouldn't know any of that.
Exactly. You know, because Lyndon was just like, I do what I want. You know, I ask who I want. They say yes or no, and that's it. So that's always sort of been like my viewpoint. You know, like I'll ask, and if you say yes, great. If you say no, no hard feelings. I'll ask someone else.
I'm sure we will circle back around to our thoughts on like a lot of that topic, but. How would you say that Lyndon sort of shaped your karate foundation, really, to say that he's obviously your first instructor?
Yeah, I like Lyndon was really good, right? You know, he was a very, very good karateka and very lucky, you know, because when you don't know anything, like you could walk into a muck dojo, you know, and end up with someone who's not particularly good. So to walk into a dojo where the instructor is actually brilliant, you know, really, really fortunate in that regard. Did get us to a good standard. You know, a couple of guys went on to compete at really quite a high level, you know, even though that wasn't Lyndon's sort of like priority for him or his students. It was...
Did he not have like a much... Did he not... I don't know, I think each karateka is different, but it's... You know, did he not like the competition side of things much, or you know, has he ever really said, you know?
I mean, he did compete. Yeah. He did compete, and he did quite well in the events he entered. I just don't think it was ever really for him. You know, and so we never particularly cared that much. You know, we as I say, we did a couple of years.
It's not everybody's prerogative.
No, not at all. And it wasn't ours when we were younger. Really, like we did the ones we did, like we did the Legends Championships. You know, that's I think that's the one we did every year, and then maybe one or two more. But that was it. So yeah, Lyndon was just do karate. You enjoy karate, get good at karate. That's its own reward.
And I imagine it sounds like he was obviously with getting other instructors in, but he was also like quite supportive. I'm getting the feeling he was quite supportive of, you know, go and train.
Oh yeah,
like
for
here,
sure.
Here, there, and like wherever.
Yeah, go any opportunity that came up, go and do it. You know, I mean, when, like I said, when I got my black belt, you were still allowed to start doing like the black belt classes, and then sort of encouraged going to the adult classes and train more and more and more. And Lyndon would, you know, start talking about the KGB and the instructors he trained with and the times he went to the Triangle and blah, blah, blah. And that was my first sort of inkling of that's something I want to do, you know. So it was through Lyndon and from talking to Lyndon that I decided when I turned 18, I would go to Liverpool to join the Triangle, to join the KGB off of his
So that was like a seed that he sort of planted
big style.
like in your mind,
Yeah. So yeah, he would always just encourage you to go and train with people better than he was, you know, and he would bring people to the club who were better than he was, so we could experience that. You know,
and that's the measure of the man that is, you know, the instructor as well, that can stand there and say, yeah, go and train with someone that's better than me, because you'll find, again, I say we'll circle back to it, but it's to find instructors that are like that. Some are very protectionist, like we know. You know, but to be like, yeah, go and do that. They are better than me. Go and train with them. That's you know, that's
really open-minded.
Yeah.
Really open-minded, definitely.
But so you said that you passed your Shodan when you were 11. So just talk to me about that day. Was that something that where you knew it was coming, or the way like the Lyndon Sensei did it? He was like, right, this day? Or...
Yeah, he would indicate that this is your time. Yeah. This is the grading I want you to go for, or it to be a conversation and maybe wait a little bit or whatever. But yeah, so it was November. My Shodan grading is the hardest physical thing I've ever done in my life.
And so it should be.
So it was a lot, you know. Even looking back now and thinking about it, what I did, I was like, I don't think I could do that now, you know. So it began with a 2-mile run. Didn't have to do it to time or anything like that. You just weren't allowed to stop. Right. So you'd start at a point and you'd post senior grades along the route who would just watch you to make sure you weren't slowing down or stopping or anything like that. So you just had to do this run, get back. Then you'd get to the dojo. And then we had to do every syllabus. So from like white to red, yellow to purple and white belt, whatever it was, brown belt, and then an actual black belt syllabus. Every single kata, from Kion kata to Hyangodan, Teki Shodan, Basadai, Kankidai, MP, Jion, Hungetsu. We had to do Seipai, which was a different style kata. We had to do a bow kata. All of the Kumisei, we had to do freestyle. It was a lot.
I was going to say, was this penciled in for like a couple of days, was it? Or
well, I was awarded my Shodan from Lyndon in the foyer of the leisure centre because we got kicked out because we'd been in there too long. It just went on and on and on. And it's looking back, obviously, it's like, yeah, I did it, like, great achievement, you know. But my God, it was a lot. But yeah, again, that was just the nature of Lyndon's karate in his classes. Yeah. You know, like if you can do 10, do 11. You know, if you can do 11, do 12. You know, it was just that sort of mentality of just do it, just do it, just do it. Just keep going.
Like you can tell now with the way you say, like it's those, I don't know, those moments that you know, that define you, or to show that you can push yourself and do it. Yeah.
Like it's black belt, right? Yeah, it should mean something.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that a less physical grading doesn't mean as much, because of course it does. You know, like it's the mental aspect of the black belt grading, which is the biggest challenge.
That's it.
Right?
I mean, the pressure that people put on themselves, that we've all done, put the pressure on ourselves.
100%. But yeah, like not many black belt grading start with a run, you know, and like I've not heard of any other black belt grading where you had to do as much as we physically had to do. So yeah, I do sort of, when I look back, I go, yeah, I'm proud of myself for getting through it.
Yeah.
You know, I remember like after every Q grading, my mum would always grab us a Chinese takeout on the way home, just as a little like tradition, you know, like little well done. And she booked a Chinese restaurant for after the showdown grading. Yeah. She was like, I'll book it for 8 o'clock. We'll be done by then. And she was cancelling. We had to go the next week. But yeah, it was.
We're getting a microwave meal on the way home.
Yeah, but it like Lyndon was strict, right? He was so strict. So I remember my senpai, a guy called Marcus, who's still doing karate now, and he's still brilliant, right? And he was my guy with the target on his back. You know, like we'd do that 2-mile run, and he'd be gone. Yeah. You know, and I'd be sprinting after him, and he'd just be like, like such an athlete. You know, in everything he did, brilliant. And I remember he was doing his knee down when I was attempting my showdown, and he did a brilliant grading, and he did Fenikkusu as his chosen kata. Brilliant job. Didn't make a mistake at all. Like didn't put a foot wrong until the very final move of Fenikkusu. You know, his noizuki. He did gyak like you would do in a kankudai. Literally the last move of the grading. That was it. He was finished, and then failed him. Oh. And it was just like, so to do everything, you know, like so. He was then was strict like. But again, it's a black belt grading. You know, it's
character building.
This is it. Absolutely. Yes, is it. Yeah. As it should be.
Yeah. It's.
But it was, wasn't it? In because I started in 1999. You started in 2000. It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're probably the first guest I can actually relate to about about starting in that time period. It was strict. Yeah, it was definitely character building.
I think it was one of those, and like this is just me thinking now, where perhaps, as you mentioned, sort of like the 70s and 80s, where you had that brutality, where because you had 20 people waiting to take that place, you could give them a bloody nose, and if they didn't come back, 1999, 2000, with children, you're not able to do that. So how do instructors compensate?
Yeah,
it just make it bloody hard.
Yeah,
you know. Absolutely. So, and like that's. Yeah, I mean, you can have a hard session without being beaten up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, just as one example. I'm not saying I didn't get beaten up in the dojo because, you know, I got battered a lot when I was a kid, but like it wasn't hospitalizations. Do you know what I mean?
It definitely wasn't that kind of like broken.
Yeah, no, exactly. You could go to school or work the next day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
that's the difference, right?
Yeah,
and I think I remember sort of like hearing that term a lot. Sort of obviously, when I started, you were still in the hard sort of training type, but it was sort of transitioning at the same time as well. But you definitely remember hearing that like, oh, I've got to go to work the next day. You know, like you know, it's not paying the, you know, most people, it's not paying the bills. So it was that mind shift was changing. Yeah, you know, within training a little bit, that people still wanted to train hard, but like it was just coming down. Yeah, it was coming down a notch.
This is it, right? And I like I do Makiwara training a lot, you know. And I remember I used to have like a few years ago now. I used to have a sales job, and you know I'd go into the office with like bloody knuckles. Where sometimes like maybe I'd slipped off the pad and that, and you could see my boss was looking at my knuckles, going,
what's going on here?
You're our sales rep. You know, you're meant to be going and seeing our customers, and like you can't. Yeah. Like he was okay with it, but he wasn't okay with it. You know, he was like, I get it, but also we do have an appearance to uphold. You know, so it's I do get it, and obviously, like if I had a black eye or a broken nose or something, it'd be even more so, right? So.
But then you just be like, look, sales are up.
Doing my job here.
So obviously, with starting like when you did, going through all the training and everything, getting to Shodan. When you look, if you're looking back now, what would you say the difference is now from like when you were being taught to like now how you are teaching it? Do you feel much has changed? Would you say that you are as, you know, as strict as Lyndon Sensei, or stricter, or is it or is teaching and dealing with, say, like the teaching of children more? Because I always feel like it's gone a bit softer.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lyndon was perhaps ahead of the curve in a lot of things. So I would like to think my teaching is similar to what his was, because from my memory, he was very good teaching kids. This is the thing I've found. You know, I'm now a full-time instructor. You know, it's about 80 or 90 kids in my dojo. You know, if not approaching the 100 mark for the kids alone now. And one thing I've found is, like, if you get them sweating, if you get them smiling, they keep coming. You know, so, and if you give them that little bit of leeway of having a laugh, having a joke, when you do put the hammer down, they respond.
Yeah.
You know, and it gets to the stage where, you know, as I say, you give those kids that little bit of adult responsibility. It's actually the older kids, the senior kids, who are saying to the younger kids, no, you need to listen. No, be quiet now. It's time to get serious. And they are then encouraging. So then it's not big, scary man telling kids off.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like little 11, 12-year-old black belt, and the one the kids want to be going, no, it's time to calm down now. No, you need to do it like this. No, it's time to get ready. So I think that helps, because as I said, it's not me pointing and shouting. I do that to the older kids, who can deal with it a little bit better, who then with the younger kids do it in a age-appropriate way. Yeah. Is it getting softer? I mean, what does that mean, right? I'm not beating someone up every single class. I mean, like, yeah, like, no, I'm not.
No,
doing
I don't
that.
mean it. No, I don't. I don't mean it like. I don't mean it like that. But I just, you know, I guess I'm from sort of like, was again from a changing generation. You guys a little bit more. It was not. I definitely don't mean like people getting beaten up. I just feel like the approach, and I think, you know, like especially a lot of kids nowadays, you know, it's like with grades, they want to be grading every 5 minutes, you know, and they want. Maybe it's like again with you could even go down the rabbit hole, I guess, of like with smartphones and all that jazz. You know, it's like want that quick dopamine fix and stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
I think
it's
for me, it's about setting expectations. In that case, you know, if you make it very clear to the parents and make it very clear to the kids that how far you progress in this. Obviously, it depends on how well you train and blah blah blah. Yeah. It's essentially up to me. If I don't think you're ready to grade, you're not grading. Yes. And it's my business, right? You know, it's my mortgage. It's paying for my partner and my kids and myself and everything.
And you've got to have your standard, you know.
Yeah, this is it, right? So, if I wanted to, I could just say, everyone's going to grade all the time. Yeah. And whatever, you know, I just want to make a quick buck. That's not it, right? So again, it's about setting that expectation of, I will tell you whether you're grading or not. Prove to me you can do it. And again, if you give that responsibility to the kids, if they want it, they'll do it. Yeah. You know, and then if they don't, then it's the conversation with their parent, with them. I set this expectation. They haven't met that expectation. They're going to have to wait. And
is that a difficult conversation? It tends to be, or do you feel? You know, I suppose it differs from from family to family. I guess
I've very rarely had any kickback when I've had that conversation. If a parent turns around to me and says, no, I'm adamant they are grading, I'll say, look, it's your money. I'd recommend you wait. Yeah. But they might surprise me.
Yeah, of course. We all know that. We've all had the students that surprise you.
Which has happened. But I've never had to fail someone in a dojo who I haven't had that conversation with the mum and dad. I've only ever failed people who I've said, no, you need to wait, you know. Because I'm their instructor. Right, yeah. So I have to look after them. You know, I have to make them good at karate. That's my job. Yeah. That's what they're paying me to do, to make them better at karate. But they're also paying me to look after them, to have their best interests at heart. So if I think it's in your best interest to wait, I would rather you have that little disappointment now than a massive disappointment on the day. You know. Yeah. So again, it's about setting that expectation. If you set that expectation in the class of, we're going to enjoy this. You're going to enjoy this training, but when I say it's time to work hard, you guys work hard, then you're going to work hard. If you take that laugh and that joke too far, then I'm going to put the hammer down and the laughing's going to stop and you're going to work even harder. You know, and as I say, the kids respond. Because again, if I treat them like an adult, they do tend to respond much better than if you treat them like kids. Because as I said, all kids want is to be older.
Yeah.
And then they become an adult and they go,
Yeah.
why did I wish this away?
Was I that bad?
But I think as well, it's one of those, like, again, kids start out, they maybe get like just a cheap training gi, and they're going along doing it, and then obviously as they progress, and then they get like, might get their first like Taekaido, Hirota, whichever brand.
Bokensha. Get a 10% off if you use my code.
Yes, use the 10% code. Yeah, and they get that gi that is nice, looks different, fits different, feedback is different. And next thing like you say, they want to be that bit older, but then they look like looking. It's that.
It's when they start to take a little bit of pride in it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to karate because I want to go to karate. Not because mum and dad says so, not because I'm meeting my mates, not because it's Monday night and I'm going to karate. I'm going to karate because I want to go to karate.
Yes.
And exactly. Like as soon as that happens, you can always tell with a kid. Yeah. It's like, they've got something here. They want this,
Yeah, it's and trying to find out, that motivation and what makes each child tick, I guess, or what, how to get the best out of them in the dojo as well is.
Yeah, for sure. And going back
that's
to
just a science in itself.
Yeah. And, like you get a lot of kids and, there's lots like ADHD and everything, so every kid needs to be taught in a slightly different manner, in a slightly different way. And one will respond like to positive feedback, to negative feedback, and they'll respond to that, respond to this. So you just need to take that little bit of time to find that, but again, it's my job. So I have to do that. It's not enough for me to say, I teach this way and that is that, because then I wouldn't have any students and I'd have to get another job. It's like my job is to be able to do this and to accommodate everyone, so I will do my best to accommodate everyone and to, as I say, take your best interest at heart, make you as good at karate as I can make you, regardless of what you've got going on.
It's that duty of care, isn't it? As
Absolutely.
an instructor.
Absolutely.
Also, as well, we're not just instructors, are we? You've got a list, haven't you? Social work.
That's the cliche, isn't it?
That's
that's the cliche. I think what's really important, and Scott Sensei taught me this lesson, and I think it's such an important lesson, whether you're teaching professionally, whether you're doing courses or anything like that, every person who walks through that door, every person who books you is a customer. They aren't just your students. They are paying customers, and if you are not able to provide a product that they want, that they're satisfied with, they are well within their rights to go elsewhere. If you went to a shop and they stopped selling the food you wanted to buy, you wouldn't keep going to that shop. So like you really have to keep that in mind. Whenever I teach a course, like you guys know, like you've booked me for a course, I'll ask, what do you want me to teach? Is there anything? And often people will say, do what you want. But if there's something you want me to do, you're paying me to do it. I will do that thing. I think instructors sometimes forget that.
Yes.
Like it's a privilege to teach. It's a privilege to teach. It's amazing. But it's a privilege.
I think it's like that. I would look at it as such an honor if someone says, "Do you know what? I'd like you." Yeah. I've seen what you're about. They might have, however they've, learned about you. Found your stuff on Facebook.
What a compliment!
YouTube,
what a compliment! You watch me do something. I think you're good at it. Come and show it to me.
Yeah.
What a compliment to not just karate, but anything you do. Right. So, you have to do the best job you can. Like I say, whether it's a course, a seminar, or as I say, students in my dojo. Every one of my students is also my customer. So I am going to do my best to give them the best product I can do. Yeah.
So I know we've gone on a tangent there, but like thinking of like when you were saying that Lyndon Sensei had sort of planted that seed of going to Liverpool, training at the Triangle. Sort of, what age were you when you sort of like made that move to Liverpool?
So I was 18. I was 18, yeah. So like I say, Lyndon started dropping sort of names, Frank Brennan, Terry Neal, blah, blah, blah. Those when I got my black belt, that's when I started doing the older classes. So that's when I found out about them. Like getting on the old dial-up internet and looking up videos of Frank and that, which were up because there weren't that many at the time, but there were some. Like when YouTube was still quite young, right? Really,
Yeah.
But yeah, so found out about Frank, and like Marcus and I used to copy his demonstrations. You know, Lyndon used to have a Christmas party, so we'd watch a demonstration of Frank and we'd do an awful job replicating it. But, you know, we were just trying to be Frank at that stage. So from an early age, like it was Liverpool. And then when I selected my universities, like I think like you could choose 5. All of mine were Liverpool, just to get there. And like, I remember when I was accepted to Liverpool University, like sitting down with my dad and be like, right, Dad, I need to write my email to the KGB to get into the triangle. You know, this is more important than all of my exams and everything. He was like, you need to help me with this. And I've still got my email back from Bob Poynton, like may he rest in peace, like saying, yeah, of course, come along, here are all the times and dates and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, 2011, I moved to Liverpool. And my first week there, I went to the triangle.
Yeah. Was it like feeling quite apprehensive, like knowing probably some of the history and the people that have like trained there? And
yeah, I mean, when Lyndon knew I was going, he really got amped up. You know, the stories and like if they don't like you, if they're not good enough, like they won't let you train and blah 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 blah. So apprehension is the word, right? I have never been more nervous going to a class. The first Monday, my first Monday in Liverpool, I trained at University Club. The Tuesday, I trained with Andy Sherry. Wednesday, I trained at the University Club. Thursday, I trained with Frank Brennan. I was nervous going on to Tuesday because that was my first time there. I was terrified when I went on the Thursday because it was Frank, right? And Frank was my idol. He was
again
one,
being taught.
you know?
And for anyone that hasn't, but when you get taught by Sensei Brennan, it is
people often. I never had the privilege of training with Anoida Sensei, but when they talk about Anoida Sensei's aura, you could feel he was in the room. Like for me, that was Frank.
Yeah,
you know, like you'd see like KGB, like say the Lancaster course, where there was 300 or 400 people there. You knew where Frank was, even if he wasn't teaching you. Like you knew where he was in the room. You know, so Frank was that to me. You know, and like say watching him from a young age and then seeing him in person. Like the first time I saw Frank, like walking up the stairs of the triangle, and sort of like it's a rectangular room, right? So you go in sort of like the back left corner, and the instructors would be in the far right. That was their corner, and sort of that'd be where they warm up. I always tell this story. Frank was like his back was to me, and he was just firing out these Jodan Yokogeri Kokomis just over his head as easily as I'd do Kazamazuki. He was just going bang, 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 and like my jaw hit the floor. It was just like it's still the most impressive, like physical thing I've ever seen in my life. And it was just like, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
To train with that. That's why I've come to this city.
I remember doing a training session. Well, it must have been in Nottingham, I think, at Bob Manning's club or something. And Sensei Brennan was there. And I remember we were just doing like Kikomis for God knows, felt like an eternity. And it was like, yeah, just hold your foot here like this, and there's like, it's like Jodan level. His is like up there, and like I'm not the most flexible, but I mean I can kick head height and things, but it's like Kikomi's was a different story, like head height, but it's like down here. Someone's like, no, up here, and like everyone's got to hold their leg there, and it was, just. And you're terrified. I'm looking at my leg like, do not drop. Do not drop. Trying willing your leg to stay in position. But but I imagine the nerves, over the weeks started to drop. Did they, or
nerves
would you
started
say?
to drop? The bruises started to increase. Because again, very physical classes, right? And
did you feel like you sort of fit into that environment immediately? No. It
took me a long time to acclimatise, because again, like I was in a new city as well, right? And I didn't know anyone, and like Southern softy going to Liverpool, and so it was complete. I've never lived in a city. Like I come from a very small village, which is like had a pub and a duck pond in it, right? Like maybe 100 people in it.
Little country bumpkin.
Exactly. And then suddenly I'm in Liverpool, so which I loved, but it's such a massive culture shock. And then I'm in this dojo, which is such a different, like my first class, like on the Tuesday, doing a elbow combination where you body, chest, head, and where I wasn't used to it, but my head turned. Like I took a wash MP, and then like, I had to go to the toilet and wash the blood out of my nose, and I was coming back into class and covered in blood, and I was like, oh, what's going on? So yeah, it took a lot of
a big culture shock.
Yes, for sure. Like I say, Lyndon's classes were tough, but that was tough, you know.
So how long from like going through that then? So you're going through that little sort of like baptism of fire of the training, and again the culture shock. Where did the gear shift then to think, oh, I might try out for like?
So my original plan when I went to Liverpool was I thought I'd go there, I'd try and join the triangle. I wasn't sure whether I'd be allowed, but I joined the triangle, I was accepted. And then I thought maybe after a year or two, I'd try out for the squad. Sherry told me to do it in January. So I'd been there like a few months at that stage. She said, squad selection's in January, go for it. You know, so I was 18 at the time. So I was going for the CAD squad and the junior Kumite squad, which was up to 20 years of age. So yeah, that's when things sort of became a lot more real. Yeah, you know, in that terms.
And then obviously from like normal training at the triangle then to then going for squad selection, like up,
yeah. So
up another gear, up like 10 more gears.
For sure. I mean, the selection itself, CAT squad, you did Hyang Yondan. That was it. You know, everyone sat at the back of the room. Sherry would be in the corner with the list at the time. Right, Frank Sensei was still assisting on the CAT squad, right? So like 2 names would be called up. You do Hyang Yondan, and then you'd sit down. And then if he was unsure about you at the end, you'd do Kankudai, and that was it. You know. So I did Hyang Yondan. When the list was called, Stuart Amos, you're on the squad. Brilliant, job done. Cool. Kumite was a fight. Showed Weapon. Actually, it was just fighting to score points, and you sat down when they were satisfied, right? So I think I had 2 fights. Like, I've never been a particularly good competition fighter, but I did it. I got through, got selected on the squad. Job done. So the selection was 12 till 1. Then everyone who wasn't selected would go home. Then training was 1 till 4.
That's got to be a bit of a burn as well, though, if you don't get selected. And then that's that's got to...
thankfully...
Yes,
like that
never
didn't happen
happens.
to me,
So,
right?
yeah.
But yeah, I imagine that must be quite deflating to be sure. But yeah, you know, that was the selection. Then the training started. It was hard.
And obviously the squad selection, like Dean Hodgkins was talking about, that you go up and over.
Yeah, so that's not anything. That's something I did in my own training. That's something I never did. With the squad. I don't know when they phased that out. Even when I got into the senior squad, we weren't doing that anymore. So I'm not sure when that was phased out.
Had you heard of that then?
I had heard of it, then I did do it. Like say in my own training. I think I've sent you the video. There's a video of me somewhere like just showing I can do it. You know, to be like, I can do it. Oh yeah, sure.
We shall try and put that video, if that's all right with you. We will try and put that video into the podcast. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean those squad trainings were so physical. Still, you know, and obviously training with really good guys. Like it was such a fantastic squad, you know, and yeah, like Kumite had to get battered. You know, just drill work. Always finishing in, like you'd get in groups of 3 or 4, loser stays on, you know, and then just rotates into referee, loser stays on, rotates into referee, loser stays on, like, and then it would transition to, like, if you get scored on, you've got 10 seconds to get the point back. So yeah, it became, it was brilliant, right? It was horrible, but it was brilliant. But yeah, that's what training is sometimes. You know, you don't join.
It's that thing, though, isn't it? Of like either I remember like squad training, or even like training in the dojo. Of when you're doing kumite, people often like won't try something different or new because they don't want to be scored upon.
Yep.
You know, and then I think that's the biggest. Trying to get. I remember even that it was the biggest thing of like, okay, don't care that if someone scores, if someone scores on you, just don't care about it. You try something different. Don't just be, oh, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Try.
And like, it's one of those, right? So if your job is to go and win a competition, you have to train the staff that will win that competition. You know, so if like Chudan Gyak, if you know your Chudan Gyak scores 99 times out of 100, why would you bother doing anything else? You know, and again, that's a very specific competition training plan, right? This is my job. This is what works. That's what I'm going to do, especially if you've been selected like internationally, right? And you're being flown out and you're representing your country. Am I going to do the thing that works 99 times out of 100? Or am I going to try this thing I've never done before and, you know, maybe the team is going to lose because of my mess up, you know? So
you see it with quite a few fighters. I certainly remember seeing it even with some international fighters, is that sometimes people just they don't realize what works well for them.
Yes.
Yep. You know, like you can see them try and it could be multiple punches, it could be one punch, it could be a kick, then a punch, followed like this, and that, and you're like, I just don't think they haven't realized what does actually work for them.
Yeah, so
you know, they're still pretty good because they can make it work, but they're not progressing any further because
for me, and I've had this conversation with other people, and I'd love to know other people's opinions. Like Dean, for instance, who's been through it, and I know John and I have had the conversation. John Amos Sensei, who was on the squad. What I found in the triangle and in those squad sessions, you were never taught tactics. You were never taught how to fight. You were given drills to do, like yak, suki, flying with yak, breaking the line, coming back in, steps and whatever for the kicks. And you got very, very sharp and very, very fast and very, very hard. But you were very rarely taught how to apply those. But if they do this, try this. If they do this, try this. Like, I don't know if you've seen George Best Sensei has been putting up videos of some of his fights.
Yes,
and he'd do like paragraphs of, well, in this situation, this is happening. So I'm thinking this, and they do this, and I do this. You know, we were never given that insight, if that makes sense. So,
well, those micro decisions that you're making, like I say, micro decisions. You're looking at someone on the mat if it's kumite.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like the best fight is that's all subconscious.
Yeah.
Right. But unless you're a gifted fighter, like I said, I'm not a good competition fighter, you know, so I have to be very conscious of what I'm doing because I'm not subconscious. Like Ross Stuart Sensei from Dublin, he is a very gifted natural fighter. Everything he does is just reactive. You know, he doesn't think, he just does. Whereas me, I need to be told, well, you need to try this. When they do this, you need to tweak this to do this. And then I started to get a little bit more of that over the last few years, and where I'm now starting to see a little bit more success in competition kumite. But yeah, like at the triangle and in squad sessions, you weren't really given that. You know, you were given a lot of tools, and those tools became very good, but you weren't necessarily told how to use them, in my experience. And as I say, like other people might have got other stuff out of those sessions where they may disagree with me, but my experience was they didn't tell you how to use the tools they gave you. That was just my my personal experience, you know.
But with you being on the squad, how long did it take you to be selected to go and represent?
So I went to Liverpool in 2011. I got into the squad in 2012, and I was taken to Serbia in 2012. So my first year on the squad, I was selected to go and compete internationally.
Yeah. Was that for?
That was kata only.
Kata
that
only.
was kata only. Yeah.
Just individual kata or
individual
team
kata? Yeah. Right. So individual kata. I think I got through to the quarterfinals of kata. There's a picture of me doing kanku dai, which means I must have got to the quarterfinals because that's what you did in that round. Yeah, that was the start of.
Did you feel like making the quarterfinals there? I mean,
I was made up.
Yeah,
unbelievable. You know, like so I think I had to win like 3 or 4 rounds to get there. So my first go at
but
this.
It's like there, like you think, that first go I've made.
Yeah. Again, I've done what I've set out to do. I got through round 1. You know, like I made up with that. You know. But
because like in kata, just getting out, especially at that level, just getting out of like round 1.
Yeah. Yeah. No, very difficult.
So I know a fair few people that just was lucky enough to get selected, went away, but never got out of.
Well, a lot of my time on the KGB squad was spent going out in the first round. So yeah, it happens. Of course it happens.
But when did you sort of get your first win then under your belt, like internationally?
Internationally, so that would be 2013. 2013. So there was a team kata. One of the lads, a guy called Chris, left. I think he went to university, so I can't remember his exact reason, but I think he was taking a step back from training to focus on his studies because he was massively clever, right? And then I was put in his place.
Okay.
So
that must have been like good. Did you feel like that was
unbelievable?
Was team kata something that was on your radar that you fancied?
Not really. Not at all. I had no idea Chris was going anywhere.
Okay.
So it's like that team had been really successful, right? Really successful. So they were just. That was the team.
Yeah.
And then Chris left, and I was told you're the third man. And I think that was when, if I recall correctly, 2013 we had the World Championships in Liverpool. So those guys did the team kata then. I was told after that event Chris was going, and the European Championships was in 6 weeks. So it's like you've got to get ready, because it may have been a little bit longer than 6 weeks, but it was not long. The Worlds were September, the Europeans were November, so it was a short amount of time, right? And these guys have just fairly sure they won in Liverpool, so big shoes to fill, right? That team was myself, a guy called Hisham Saif, who like one of the best kata competitors I've ever seen. Absolutely awesome. Like won Worcester and Esker numerous times. Jack Summers, who became a very good friend of mine, like won KGB nationals loads of times, and Esker, like European kata champion.
I got to see him do kata a couple of times. I think, and
really good. So like two very, very good karateka, who I now have to like not bring their level down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Portugal, we did both, right? We did the junior team kata and the senior team kata. Junior team kata we won, and I think we came third in the senior team kata. Like I'd have to go, not looked since 2013, right? But that was the first time like got on the international podium. That was a really special moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going in for the juniors and the seniors, like.
But again, it was just sort of like
a bit of baptism.
I don't want to say dream accomplished, but I'd gone to Liverpool to join the KGB, to join the Triangle, to get onto squad, to compete and hopefully do well internationally. It was sort of like it's a big box ticked. At that stage. So yeah, that was an amazing moment. And with that team, I think we won the Europeans 3 years running, if memory serves. And placed in Worlds and whatever. So yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
And I imagine when you were competing nationally, you were part of the Triangle.
Yes.
As the Triangle, yeah.
Yep.
Lots of. How did you fare when you was?
So, like,
because obviously again, there's a lot of talent in there. So
huge, like, brilliant competitors, right? Brilliant karateka. I think the only time I ever placed in a KGB Kumite competition was my first Grand Slam event, which is the squads of England, Scotland, Wales, and I competing against each other. And I think I came third in the Kumite because I think there were only 3 of us in it. Very, very small category, the 18 to 20. I'm fairly sure that was the only way I would have come third, right? Until much later, when I came third it might have been another Grand Slam or the Shotokan Cup, I can't remember. But I came third in that Kumite event. And then in my first year competing, I think I started to place in kata. And then from then, I sort of was consistently coming fourth, third. Hisham, when did Hisham leave? It might have been 2016. He left the KGB, or he took a step back and then he left a little bit later on. I started coming second.
Yeah.
And then it was in 2018 where I first beat Jack at the Grand Slam. So 2018 was the first time I actually won.
Yeah.
And then I won both Grand Slams. I won the Shotokan Cup, and then I never won the Nationals, unfortunately, but I did win the Grand Slams, the Shotokan Cup.
I mean, the Shotokan Cup was, again, it's very prestigious.
Yeah, for
very
sure.
Prestigious, yeah.
Like proud to have won that one twice. Yeah, it was a good time.
And how do you personally prepare for like competition, like physically, mentally, you know, and technically, really, you know, I imagine that you're keeping up with your training, so like obviously your hand katas are going to be pretty sharp. I would imagine at that time, had you got a kata? Say like I know you are quite known for unsu. Did you have that kata that was, you would say, that you'd taken fully on board as like your competition kata?
I've always loved onsu. Like I learned it when I was a green belt, just because I loved it. You know, I remember I always wanted to learn Hyang Godan because of the jump.
Yeah.
And then those black belts who had that target on their back would be like, if you like that jump, look at this jump. And then I was like, that's me. I want that. That's the one. So from a very young age, I loved onsu. And actually, the first time I competed with it, I told you.
Was there somebody that you'd seen do it?
It was just someone in the club.
Okay.
It was club. It was a guy called Jordan who showed it to me. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And I remember the first time I competed with it, but I did it. And then judge called all the referees in. I was only like a kid. And the head referee pulled me over and we said, we think you got distracted by the tannoy. We're going to let you do that again. Because I'd obviously just messed it up.
Oh, right.
Monumentally.
Okay.
So they were trying to give me an out. And they made me do it again and I mucked it up again. I don't remember mucking it up. I'm just assuming that's what happened, right? But yeah, so I've always done onsu. In terms of preparation, what I do, not that I really do that many competitions. Like, I keep trying to retire, but it's not happening. How I prepare now is very, very different to what I used to do. Like, my karate is now very, very different to what I used to do. You know, back in the KGB days, I was very much harder, stronger, faster, again. Like, the example I always use is like doing kata squad one day, and Sherry had me doing the onsu jump 11 times in a row.
Wow.
And the only feedback I got was your last one wasn't as good as your first one.
And I love it when you get feedback like that.
But that was the way I trained, just again and again and again and again, and I'd run myself into the ground and do it again. Because like, if I'm faster, it'll be better. If I'm stronger, it will be better. Which, to a degree, yes. So that's what I do. I just do more of the same, because I didn't really go anywhere else at the time. You know, like me and Tony Chin and Damien Woods, may rest in peace. Like, we'd go off and like train elsewhere, you know. But mainly I was at the Triangle. So yeah, that was the training I did, and my preparation was just more.
I know, like, I went with last year at the HDKI Nationals. I saw you with your pot of gruel that it looked like that you were. Oh, You've got your.
This is like five days a week. I eat exactly the same thing.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, obviously, you're in fantastic, shape, and I was going to say, like, you obviously keep your diet.
It's
dialed
been the same for a long time. So I'm a qualified PT.
Yeah.
Gave me a little, like, I'm not an expert or anything, but it's given me a little insight, so I know what I can eat, what I can't eat. I know what's best for me.
Yeah.
And one thing I did find was with competition was, like, to combat nerves, habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because then it's just like, oh, this is just routine.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not breaking my routine. I'm not doing anything different. My warm up is the same. My food is the same. Then hopefully my performance will be the same as it is in training. You know, because you never fight, you never perform as well as you train. It's just the way it is. You know, like, I've never done a catering competition better than I've done it in the dojo. Like, I've never scored a better point in competition than I've scored in a dojo. That's just life, isn't it? Because all of those unknown factors of competition, the stress, the anxiety, who you fight in, or going up against in kata. So, like, train hard, fight easy is the cliche. So I just thought the harder you train, the easier it would be. And it was after I went to Japan in 2018, and it was more a psychological thing, but seeing how they trained. I remember actually having a conversation with, like, Frank Brennan Sensei and his brother Jimmy Brennan Sensei, and Jimmy, like, absolutely fantastic. And he was telling me to do this for years, to be fair to him. But it wasn't until I went to Japan that it sort of clicked. I remember having a conversation going, there's going to be times in the dojo where you say go full speed and power, and I'm not going to. Not because I don't want to, but because I don't need to be faster or stronger. My technique needs to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. So,
and
like that was it, right? Like Fenikkusu Sensei said, like spirit first, technique second. He didn't say spirit, forget technique. You know, they both have to be up there. Whereas me, I was went, spirit, and just forgot about this bit, right? And then it was after Japan and that sort of mindset change where I did start to find a lot more success at competition, start to win.
And so that again, like that routine, would you say that that's sort of like, you know, you're seeing success? Would you say that's like a bit like a champ? If I put it like that, like a champion's mindset of that. Again, you've sort of cracked that. Well, that's my routine. I need to keep that. You know,
it's just consistency. I think you know, consistency is king.
Yes.
Yeah, like people always say, like it's not motivation, it's discipline.
Yes.
It is, you know, because you can be motivated one day and then unmotivated the next, and you're not going to go. You know, where if it just becomes that routine of, like, I go to the gym 3 days a week, I train in the dojo 3 days a week, I teach in the dojo 6 days a week. You know, that's not motivation. That's, well, part of it's my job, but it's the discipline of this is what I do. It's not I've got to go to the gym today. It's I'm going to the gym today. It's Tuesday, I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday, I'm training into dojo. It's Sunday, I'm training into dojo. You know, it's just got to be that.
yeah.
You know, but then also when you get in there, I think it's having that mindset of improvement. You know, and I think like when I did the article for Shotokan Karate magazine, I think I touched on this briefly. It's really easy to train hard. In terms of if someone is telling you what to do and you're just going 110% hell for leather and bah, 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 and you get that sweat on and you get the adrenaline going in, endorphins releasing and you're feeling good, and it doesn't matter if your stance wasn't quite right or that technique was incorrect or you shortcutted that. It doesn't matter because you went fast. And that's when you sort of cheat. And that's what I mean. It's easy to train hard because you can sort of cheat and forget about that.
Yeah.
It's really, really difficult to train easy. So when I said to Frank and Jimmy Sensei, like, I'm gonna take a step back, because I didn't need to be faster or stronger. I needed to improve my technique, and doing that a little bit slower and making sure that is correct and that is correct and that is correct. It's really
it's difficult. I think like that's the thing.
Difficult.
People feel like if they go in hell for leather all the time, and they're just like you say, you'll get some people there like in the dojo just dripping in sweat, and maybe they might feel like they've got a moral superiority that they are obviously. Look at me, I'm training hell for leather, but it's like, can you slow it down? Can you recognize?
Can you do it right?
Yes. Can you recognize? You know, because that's the thing. You look at like some of the Japanese sensei, like when I've been on the courses, you know, and I'm sure maybe even like when you've been to Japan that. You know, you'll see it's very been told like, oh, you do it this way and this is the correct way and it's like this, you know. But then you can see them, you know, the heel is up or it's not there, and you're like, well, hang on a minute, you know, you've just said that the heel needs to be down, and everybody's this is the thing. This is like it says everybody is guilty of it. Yeah, everybody. Yeah. No one is doing it 100% correct, you know, 100% of the time. Yeah.
For sure, but again,
it's
like
recognizing that fact, isn't it?
And going back to what like we're talking specifically about competition, or we have been talking about competition. Right? For competition, it has to be 100% correct.
Yes,
right? Because you're being judged. Yes, you're being literally judged on how correct and how good your karate is. Right, so it doesn't matter how fast you do that first move. Like Fian Sanan, for instance, if that hand isn't correct, if you're not making that full preparation, like I say quite a lot. Like if you're running a 100-meter sprint, you don't win for reaching 90 meters first. You got to finish the race. You've got to finish the technique. So if you're not doing that, it's wrong. You know, it doesn't matter how fast you do it. It's wrong. It's got to be right. And then the speed and power, which would make it dynamic. You know.
Would you say just sort of like circling back to what you were saying in terms of karate changing and our era, if you like, wasn't it? You didn't really think about technique. It was survival, absolute survival.
Sure. This is it.
So do you think that's what's sort of changing about karate? Is it's kind of more emphasis on technique rather than like, right, harder, faster, stronger.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the danger is when it becomes a little bit too theoretical. I think that's the danger, right? Where you start moving away from the physical and you start talking about the theory and, well, this needs to be here and this needs to be here and this needs to be here. Well, okay, you've told me once, now let me do it. And I think that's that fine line, right? Between just harder, faster, stronger, no instruction, just go.
Yes.
Versus like just
but talking, again, that's the balance of like
it is the balance, right? And of course, like so much of it is internal, and some people will be told one way in a certain way, someone may say it in a slightly different way, which people pick up on. Eventually you do just have to do it. But I think there needs to be a little bit more emphasis on telling people how to do it.
Yes.
Like especially like look at Western Karateka, right? And how many of us have injuries? You know, like I tore my hip flexor in June. And you know, I went to a physio and they were checking me for arthritis and all sorts of stuff, you know, and I've got so much scar tissue around the left side of my body. Like the physio said, he's never seen anything like it. And that's just from years of abuse, you know? So again, duty of care as an instructor, I have to protect my students from themselves. You know, like if your technique is incorrect, it could cause injury. You know, if you're pushing your knees out in Kibarachi, like your knees aren't designed to do that, you know, but for years, like we were taught, push your knees out, like make that shape. No, your body doesn't work like that. You know, so that instruction should be there.
100%.
But then also, you still need to work bloody hard.
Absolutely, But I suppose, again, that's where karate is changing. There is that duty of care to your students, because we weren't, it was like harder, faster, stronger, long stances, and then years later we're all.
But I think there's there with a lot of some instructors as well that they have seen someone has demonstrated and instructed that your hands go here, but there isn't really an understanding of why, how do they go there, how do you move, how do you, again, when we've had Scott Sensei on, when he came and taught for us, well, the first time I ever even knew who Scott Langley was and thought, I'm going to go and train with him. Looks like he knows his stuff. And and by God, it did blow my mind of going, okay, well, I've been moving from point A to point B the same way and just doing it. Okay, but now I can see what is going on in between. And that was and I think that's for that, and then that would have been like for the years I've been training was the first time of going, Christ, someone's actually been able to demonstrate what is going on in that middle patch. And that just blows my mind every time.
No, for sure.
Because I would say maybe, until that point, like 99% of the time I've not been taught what's going on there, because I think a lot of people don't know like what is going on. And I'm not saying that in a way of like trying to be disrespectful to anyone, because they've never, again, you can get, read Nakayama's books and stuff, and again, the picture, it's showing you A, B, C, D of where the feet are, where the hands are, but it's not showing you that bit in the middle.
It's like karate is movement, right? It's not shape. Karate is movement. Again, like stealing what Scott Sensei says, right? It's the movement, not the shape at the end. Which is the important bit, right? And again, like if I was like 10 years ago when I was really like competition, I probably would put more emphasis on the shape at the end. Right? But now, well, no, it is that movement. It is those points in between which are of paramount importance. You know?
I mean, it gets me every time. It's like you go through something even like Heian Shodan, and again, like how many times have we probably collectively all been like through Heian Shodan? And then you go through it like with Scott Sensei, and you're like,
that's a different kata.
Absolutely.
But again, that's how it should be. Like again, the more tools you have in your arsenal, if you are, I don't want to say you are able to do it like them, because like we're never going to be able to do karate like Frank or Scott.
No, because they are who they are.
But if you have the tools that Frank gives you and the tools that Scott gives you or the tools that Naka Sensei gives you or that Richard Amos Sensei gives you or Paolo Sensei gives you, then like if you have all of those tools at your disposal, how many more options have you got?
Oh yeah,
Then you can
each
you
one of
can
those
play
individuals
and tweak
can
and change, and then you can find, oh well, actually, that's me. That's the one I want to do. That best suits me, and then your karate can become its own thing, rather than having the Frank Brennan mold and trying to force yourself into it, the Scott Langley mold and trying to force yourself into
it's
that.
It's the same of having that again. Coming from JK England again. As much as I respect and love, training within that association, it was always like, oh, you need to do it like Naka Sensei, or you need to. It's like, but I'm not. I'm not 5 foot whatever, and I'm 6'3" and gangly arms, gangly legs, and struggling to control them. You have to find the yes, we're moving from point A to point B, and I have to find the best way that my body that will move in that.
Do that.
Do that.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where people, don't beat yourself up that you can't do it like that person. You have to do it like you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the more people realise that, the more they probably will relax and
for sure
enjoy their karate a lot more. So just bringing it back to the competition. When would have been the sort of the year of like last competition for you? Before you left the KGB.
It would have been 2020, right? Just before lockdown. So February 2020. That would have been the Grand Slam events, which were sort of February, and then one towards the end of the year as well. I can't even remember when. It might have been October or August. I don't know. But yeah. So.
Were you starting to, have enough of competition by then, or
no? Not at that stage. So how old was I in 2020? 5 years ago. So I would have been 27. So no, I was still very much on the squad, enjoying competition. Like I said, I'd started to see a bit more success, and I was starting to get the hang of it a little bit more. So like I'd placed in a Kumite event at that stage, and like I was starting to win kata events at that stage, and 27 sort of starting to get towards my prime as sort of an adult male, starting to get to my prime, and so I was still hungry for it then.
And I obviously we didn't know each other at that point, but I do remember seeing you sitting online, going to look like you'd been offered chances to go and teach at various clubs and things like that. So that must have been nice, right? To start like getting invites like that.
Again, a privilege, and an honour to be asked to go and teach. So the first seminars I did, it was the three of us, the team kata, myself, Hisham and Jack. The England team kata would teach, this seminar, and I actually got in trouble the first one I did because I asked Lyndon to whip up some advertising for it, and he did a video advertising it as an open course, which in the KGB was a slap on the wrist.
Oh dear.
Because KGB karate for KGB Karateka, and I remember having the conversation with Sherry of, well, how are we gonna?
Yeah.
How would people know to join? Like trying to encourage this. I remember wanting it to be open. Because as I said, like I came from a non-KGB club, and some of those guys wanted to come and see me and train with me. So I was saying, yeah, of course you can come.
But
and then being told, oh well, no, actually, they're not allowed. And it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's crazy. So,
but especially as you're gaining success, karate sharp, doing well. You probably feel like, if people want me to come, I'd love to teach for people. But then to sort of I guess, have that leash put on you to say, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's you
like
towed the party line, right? It was one of those. And when the chief instructor is saying, don't do this, and he wasn't just my chief instructor, he was my instructor.
Yes.
He wasn't just squad coach, he was my sensei, So it was sort of like, you just say os, and very sorry, I didn't know, won't do it again, blah blah blah. And I was starting to get more gigs, very, very good friend of mine, Jason.
Were they supportive of that? Sorry to cut you off there.
For sure, they were happy I was doing it. A good friend of mine, Jason Cunningham Sensei, who's got a brilliant dojo in Brighton, and I've taught for him for years. He actually booked myself and Jack for the first one with Bob Rhodes Sensei. So, and to my knowledge, I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I think Jack and I were the first to teach with one of the big six, you know, those being Sherry, Terry, Bob Point and Bob Rhodes, Billy Higgins and Frank. I think we were the first ones, like maybe John Bruce taught with Jimmy, or like, but I think we were, like I say, don't quote me on that because I don't know for sure, but, you know, being able to teach with Bob, like we were stood at the front of the class and I was looking over there and Bob Rhodes was there. It was like, whoa, you know, this is nuts, you know. So like Bob Sensei gave me that opportunity. Jason gave me that really nice opportunity. So yeah, it was a privilege to start being asked.
I think I remember seeing online that, you know, you'd teaching either with Bob Sensei, and I was thinking, wow, that's again, because knowing like obviously,
but you guys
like
Bob from,
Bob for a long time, and got a lot of respect for Bob. So and seeing that, you know, like you were teaching with Bob, I was just thinking. But see, again, from someone that had been in KG before, obviously my father was a KGB till he retired, you know, and like obviously always looking and thinking, God, no, none of the younger generation are ever getting a leg up there. That was me. Well, that was me again, just from someone being outside thinking, yeah, you know, never seeing that, and then seeing, you know, yourself and Jack, and I was thinking, oh, fair play, lads. That's that's you know, just an outsider looking in, really. I guess like thinking that's fantastic.
Yeah, like I say, it was unbelievable. Like I say, just that feeling of looking, being like, Bob, I'm still at the front with Bob. You know, it was an amazing opportunity. You know, like I met Bob when I was 15 or 16. You know, because Lawrence Elcock Sensei, who I mentioned earlier on, who was Lyndon's friend, he used to have him at his dojo every Thursday night. So I would go up to train with Bob. You know, that's when I first met him, and it was great. You know, so when I went to the KGB and I saw him at Lancaster and Torbay, and like just sort of became.
It's just a character.
You know, he's great. What I love with Bob is what you see is what you get. You know, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and it's.
And you're still doing stuff together now.
Yes. Yeah. So I teach with Bob every year. You know, keeping regular contact with him and his partner Debbie. Like, lovely people, really good friends. You know, Bob has supported me an awful lot. You know, in an awful lot of ways. He stood up for me in a massive way and left the KGB in support. It was huge, right? Like. Never going to be able to pay him back for that. So, yeah, huge amount of respect. And like I said, being able to teach with him, like, because I was, 21, maybe 22 when that started.
Yeah,
that's monumental. You know? So
you've got to have been stood there thinking, what's going on?
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think, like, that's, like, you have to step up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can't phone it in when you're teaching with someone of that. Like caliber, do you know what I mean? So,
is there a particular way you sort of dealt with the nerves at that time?
When
did you embrace it?
When I taught with the KGB, and like Ross and Rue and the guys will tell you this, I just tried to emulate Frank in every respect. You know, I tried to walk like him, talk like him, command a class like him, because he was the pinnacle, right? You know, he was the guy, and like the best compliment I used to get was like, "Oh, that class was like, oh, that was like Frank," you know, and I'd be on cloud 9. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, it was very much that fake it till you make it thing of I would just try to emulate Frank. And I think there's a clip somewhere of me teaching at Hombu my first time, which was December 2020, and I'm just roaring, like doing my best Frank impression. And I remember Ross turning around to me and saying, "Yeah, I've not, all right, Frank. Like, I've not trained like that in a long time."
I remember seeing you teaching online, and I remember, I think I might have even said to my dad or something. I was like, "Who does this young guy remind you of?"
Well, yeah, because why, like,
and I think the rest was like beautiful technique.
Yeah, that was it, right? You just, because again, you tried. He was my idol, right?
Yeah,
so you tried to, and within the KGB, he was the tip of the iceberg, right? So why wouldn't you try to emulate that?
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
But like, say now, like, I still hold on to a little bit of that, but now also I reach into like my Scott Langley box, my Richard Amos box.
Well, you're finding,
and my Stuart Amos box is now becoming a bit fuller, you know. So
it's becoming you. You're finding you've finding yourself. I guess. Like
trying to, yeah.
Like your own style, if you like.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's like we were saying earlier. It's my karate, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
so no one knows
But
me
we're all-
better than me. You know,
And Scott Sensei said it like when he was on. He says everybody is pinching ideas. From everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
But so bringing on to, you know, to always for just saying like, you know, 2020, you sort of like hinted at it there that, you know, Bob stuck up for you and everything like that. But obviously you made you made the decision to leave.
Yeah, it's the elephant in the room, right?
So the KUGB.
So August 2020, there were allegations against the then chief instructor of the KUGB, Andy Sherry. Sexual misconduct, shall we call it? That all-encompassing term. I was one of the people to make an allegation. Wasn't the first, wasn't the last. And yeah, what happened next was like hardest period of my life.
I imagine a complete life changing and
destroyed,
turning upside down.
Right? Destroyed. Like my reason for going to Liverpool, just destroyed. Right. So those allegations led to an investigation, like a very thorough and long investigation by Merseyside Police, which eventually led to charges. March 2024, there was a court case where he was found guilty of those charges. September of the same year, he appealed. Like, this isn't like the medium, the time and place for the nitty gritty details and that. But what I will say about the appeal is at one point, the lawyer for the prosecution, like my lawyer, stood up and said, like Stuart Amos in his testimony has not been mentioned at all in this appeal. You know, he's not been challenged. How can you hope to bring him back to a retrial when you haven't challenged him at all during this appeal? So think of that what you will. But unfortunately, the judge ruled that if one witness was being brought back, we were all brought back. Mm-hmm. So we were all brought back. And then in October 2025, there was the retrial, and he was found not guilty. Like, don't want to dwell on it too much, but what I will say, as I've said like numerous times, like I'm incredibly grateful to everyone who has, you know, supported me, stood up for me, trusted me, like Bob Sensei and others, like who left in solidarity with me. Like, there's way too many to mention, right? We'd be here for hours. But, you know, like complete strangers have reached out saying, like, you know, well done, good on you, we believe you. Like from Q grades, from clubs I've not heard of, like chief instructors of organizations, you know, not just within the HDKI, but without, all over the UK and Europe, America, Canada, Australia, Japan, you know, a huge amount of support and trust. And it's been overwhelming, you know, overwhelming's the word. And yeah, really blessed and lucky, you know, to have that, like say, from all over the world. Like I've said this to a few people, if I could go back to August 2020, like knowing what this eventual verdict would be.
I mean, you're thinking like they're 2020, we're now in 2025.
2026, mate.
Sorry, 2026, we are. Yes, yeah.
I
25 was a long year.
Well, I would still stand up and do the exact same thing, you know, because at the end of the day, all I've done is I've told the truth and I did the right thing. So I'd do it again in a heartbeat, and I'd do it again, and I'd do it again, because it's the truth and it was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You've told you as I've said to you before. You've told your truth.
Yes, this is it, right? And then, like, the silver lining to this dark cloud, I hope, is that it has forced is maybe the wrong word, but encouraged clubs, instructors, associations to have perhaps a deeper look at their safeguarding policies.
Absolutely.
To ensure that this doesn't happen again. You know,
it's the reporting. I would look at it as it's you know, it's the reporting and the measures.
This is it, right? Like, it's
same in any. I mean, in karate, in any sports that we've seen.
Anything.
Like
not just sport. Any
workplace,
walk of
anywhere.
life.
In a workplace, anything. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that is the case. Because, you know, good safeguarding protects everyone. You know, like, it protects instructors, it protects the students, it protects everyone involved, right? So like in that regard, if it helps even one person, it would have been worth it. If it stops it happening to anyone else, even one person, it would have been worth it, you know. Like I think the culture around it, not even in karate or martial arts, but in all walks of life, it needs to change, right? Because abusers get away with it because people don't talk about it, you know. And like in some circumstances, there are rumors for decades, right, of this sort of thing happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
And imagine if somebody had spoken about it decades ago and put a stop to it decades ago. What happened to me might not have happened, you know. And like talking about it is an awful thing. You know, I find myself in a position where I am willing and able to talk about it because I understand that if it isn't spoken about, these abusers will continue to get away with it, right? But I know how hard that is. So I would say if anyone's out there who does need someone to talk to me. Like I appreciate how dark a place you can get into, right? Like I'll admit, like I was diagnosed with depression. I was given medication. I had a counsellor for a very, very long time. I did find myself in dark places that, you know, but like I don't talk about my family very often because they're not really to do with karate. My social media presence and everything is karate, but like my family helped me get out of some dark places. My flatmate at the time, bless him, like I think he got it in a year more than anyone, and he's not to do with karate. So God bless Harley, like he was there. Keely, my partner, she was there. Like Tony Chin, Damien Wood, like Chris Cray, they've saved my life. Right? You know, Jason, Bob, they saved my life. So, like if anyone is out there who does need to talk, like I'm here. I know there's some other fantastic people out there who are there, but I think this culture of not talking about it needs to change. And even the culture, to bring it back more to karate now, this culture of like sensei being infallible, of sensei being like on that pedestal, needs to change to some degree. Definitely. Because no one is infallible.
These coaches, instructors, whatever sport,
doesn't
whatever
matter who
it is, they are a person.
Yeah,
they are not a deity or
exactly.
You know.
And if those safeguarding protocols, procedures are in place, then that is that, right?
Yeah.
So here we are.
Here we are.
Like as I say, those 5 years were awful, but also there was some nice things that happened during that time, right? So like I'm not going to be defined by this, you know, but I would be a fool to like not say it's not a defining part of my life, right? It's a huge thing and it's changed me completely, like for the better. I'd like to think, I'd like to hope. Like I said, we just move forward and we do better. Yep. So, and in September I joined the HDKI.
How did like obviously so within that you've then like lost your karate family as you know it.
Not all of them. Not all of them. I lost.
No, but I mean, you know, your core, like where you're training, everything. As I sort of like know a bit myself of losing that karate, that karate nucleus. That mentally is.
That was awful.
That is a horrible thing.
Yeah, it was awful. Like say, my whole reason for moving to Liverpool and left my family and friends was for the triangle, for that karate community, you know, which I was cut off from quite severely.
Which again, some people will use that as a weapon. Not necessarily again like what happened to you, but we'll just use that like being. I know of people been ostracized from clubs.
Yeah, but even as his basic terms as he's not in the group anymore, you can't train with him.
Yes.
Stuff as simple as that, right? Which did happen. And as I said, it like I loved KGB, right? So I think it's a fantastic group. It's got some brilliant people in it, many of whom are still my friends, and I still teach for them, and I still train with them, and like they invite me to do gigs, and I invite them to courses where and I still keep in contact with a lot of them, right? There are some people in that group I don't want anything to do with anymore. that's the
But
way
that's
it goes.
life, that's
But
life as well.
That's life as well, you know. So, but yeah, I was very fortunate, right, and thankful that a lot of that community left with me, right? You know, so like mentioned a few of them, like Damien Woods, like passed away sadly a few years ago, but like such a rock.
It was a
to me
shame
in
I
that
never
time.
got to meet him. I really, because I know I'd love to have. I saw you again. We sort of met, or got to know each other like after COVID, and
like one of the best
that.
friends I've ever had for numerous reasons. You know, and we did the doors together, and we travelled all over the world together, and we trained together, and you know, like friends become family, right? And that was definitely the case with Damo, and we miss him still every day, you know. But again, like Tony Chin. I call him my Scouse dad. Do you know what I mean? Like he put me up in his home and like for a time, and like again, like we're so close. And Dan Brody, John O'Neill, Christine Donnelly, like we came together, right? We came together and like we train together all the time now. And we lost one community, we came together as another, you know. And then like other clubs in Liverpool left and joined with us, like St Helens, Hillwood, Jeff Cole's club. In Mossley Hill, and like guys in Chester, Keith Limit, and obviously all of my guys at my own club, they all left. I remember when I did leave the KGB, and I was looking at associations to join because my club at the time was too small to be independent. And also I think myself, I needed that community. I didn't want to be on my own, you know, so I wanted to be part of a group again.
But that's a human nature.
Human
nature, right?
We want to be included, don't we?
Like we're pack animals, right?
Yes.
Like we're herd animals, humans are, right? So I wanted that group, and I remember emailing Simon, and within minutes he called me back, saying, "Oh well, Scott Sensei's teaching in Birmingham soon." Like it's still COVID restrictions, right? So it'll be like socially distanced and blah 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 blah. But he said, "Come and meet us and come say hello," which I did, and I went down and trained and really enjoyed Scott's class. I was in a really bad place at the time, right? So I probably didn't enjoy it then as much as I would now. But I remember going, this is really, really good, right? And I remember chatting to Scott and Simon, and there was no pressure. It was just, hey, train, enjoy. If you liked it, if I do another course, train with us again. You don't have to join to train with us, just be a friend, you know? But I just loved it. You know, and I loved how easy it was, and that was it. And I liked Scott's karate, so that was in September, I think it was. So I remember saying to them both, just give me time. You know, I am going to join. Just keep it on the download. Let me talk to my guys in the club. Let me talk to Damo. Let me talk to Tony and those guys, and let's make sure this decision is
well, it's got to be right. It needs to be right, doesn't it?
Yeah. And you know, I remember when I was in the KGB, I never thought I'd leave. You know,
I think that's how everyone. When you're in an an association, like with whatever it may be,
like
you know, the thought of.
Well, you don't think about leaving.
Well, don't think about leaving.
You don't
at all. It's they're like you're saying. I mean, I remember the same thing being told, like, oh, we've been told you're going to leave, and it's like, why would I leave? I'm perfectly happy here.
Exactly. This is it, right? So, like, I didn't know I was leaving until I left. That was it, right? So, but I remember thinking, and I do remember saying this to Simon, like, if we're not happy, we can just go elsewhere. That was it, right? It was sort of that freedom of choice. And as it turns out, I was very happy, you know, in the HDKI, which is why I'm still there now. But yeah, I found that was very freeing. You know, and you know, Simon, like, I remember when I asked what the rules were, and he basically said, like, do what you want, just don't take the piss. You know, in the most Simon Bly way imaginable, right?
But then, but going from like, and it's because you, like I say, I think some of the bigger like organisations have very got this, like we've said, I've had this conversation before, but like a cult mindset.
Yes, that's
so that
is the word.
And it is. It is. Some of these bigger ones are like, I hate to say it, but it is that way, and people are conditioned.
Yes.
They don't realise it. I didn't realise.
Well, nobody does, do they?
I would say
until you leave.
I didn't realise.
Yes.
I'd been conditioned.
Yep.
You know, like, and you are that way, and you then like when you do leave, and then you're doing this other thing. It's like, whoa, hold on, I just got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
I say trouble.
Well,
You know,
you
sorry,
crossed the line.
I'm the paying customer by being told what I should do.
Yeah.
You know, so then going into that saying, well, yeah, do what you want.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It
Right.
was immense. You know, I think I do this often. Like karate is my life. It really is my life. Like I can't remember a time not doing it. You know, it's my 26th year. Never had a break or anything like that. I'm 32 now. Like it's my 26th year training. Like it's my life. I love doing it. It's my passion. It's my hobby. It's my career. Vast majority of my friends. I met my partner doing karate. It's everything. You know. Sometimes you got to take a step back and go, it's karate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. It means everything. It means nothing. You know.
Yeah.
Realize what you're doing. To the vast majority of people who do it, it's a hobby they do once or twice a week.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, and it's no more than that to them.
But
So
then
why are
for
you,
other
why are you
people, it's
talking
their
about
little-
loyalty?
It's their
What's
little,
like-
their little kingdoms, though, isn't
This
it?
is it. Like loyalty is only ever asked for by people who don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
if you ask to ask for loyalty, you've done something to make people question it.
I-
You know,
I remember-
and it's as simple as that. And like people always bandy about the term like karate starts with respect. Yeah, it does, and it works both ways. You
Yeah,
know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
It's mutual.
that often
Yeah.
it's often not.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Problem.
I will respect you this much, but you will respect me this much.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and I remember like having a conversation with one of my guys once. It was our Christmas party. We were in the pub, and someone was going down the bar like Sensei, and I was half cut. I was like, my name's Stuart. Like we're in a bar. Like you're buying me a drink. Like
Yeah.
call me Stuart. It's cool. When we're in the dojo and you've bowed, and I'll bow to you, and then like
Yeah, there's that
Yeah,
mutual.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
again, like in this position, like there's potentially fighting going on. There's potentially something dangerous going on. Like this is my domain, and I have your best interests at heart. So do what you're told, so you can be so you can train safely, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like as soon as I go out into the car park, you're a doctor, you're a teacher, you're a
Yeah.
nurse, you're
Yeah.
a vet. You know a hell of a lot more than I do. I punch people for a living. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know anything about the
It's-
world. Like so.
It's just like you
Who
said,
am
like
I,
that.
you know?
This is about the thing about respect, because I remember having this conversation. Well, you know, who the conversation was with, but it's you know, is this? Well, it's all going to come down to like respect, you know, and it's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You know, like it's just nonsense. Like,
Yeah.
It is for sure. You know.
And it's just been used again as a control method. And what does that?
Yep.
A cult does that.
Exactly.
Like, so it's,
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, just do karate and enjoy. It's like associations have to exist.
yeah,
There's lots of benefits to associations.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
but they can be used as dangerous tools if the wrong people
Yeah.
are in charge of them, right? And
Yeah.
even if the man in charge is good and the people below him are not, then issues are going to start to creep in, right? Which again, maybe not so much what we were talking about with the safeguarding, but again, there has to be these checks and balances, right?
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know, so
definitely.
I know for a fact not that he does, but if Simon would piss me off, I could pick up the phone and say, Simon, we need to chat.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
as I know if anyone in the HDKI had an issue with me, they could call me up and say, Stuart, we need to chat. And
Yeah,
I would
it's
sit
not
down
a
and I
taboo.
would,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a
exactly.
taboo.
exactly,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way
But
it should
again, that's
be,
about like
you know?
Exactly.
that's adulting as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like-
for sure. You know, this is it. We're all grown people.
Yeah,
We all
all
Doing
doing
the
this,
thing
all
we-
doing this thing that we
Yeah.
enjoy.
exactly. So and that's like we do it for enjoyment. As I said, the vast majority of people do it as a hobby they enjoy. So who am I to impose my doctrine on you?
Yeah,
Like, I'm not anyone. You know, I'm a take the Japanese out of it, take the romanticism out of it. I'm a sport coach.
Yep.
That's it, really. You know, and I think what can be dangerous is when the people who come into the dojo want you to be more than that. Like you were saying earlier, the checklist of you're a therapist and you're a guide and you're a mentor and you're a nutritionist and all of this sort of thing. Like you have to, as an instructor, you're put on a pedestal. You have to step off the pedestal and you have to come back down to earth and you have to bring that person back down to earth and sometimes say to them, I'm not that.
yeah,
I teach karate. I'm not what you're looking for. You know, stop idolizing. I'll help you as best I can,
Some people are just looking for that, though, aren't
Exactly.
they?
They want their Mr. Miyagi.
They need their guru.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's hard. I would say probably a lot of the time it'll be like harmless. They want that. Their sensei is that this person in their life.
It's harmless is the instructor keeps it harmless.
Yes.
But it's when the instructor abuses that, it becomes dangerous, right? So,
but circling back, that you're saying that you trained with Scott and Simon, and you said you went back and spoke with Damien Wood Sensei and everybody else. What were their thoughts? Because they trained like.
I think Tony came with me to train with Scott, and I think his son may have done as well, Jake. They enjoyed it. I think they trusted me to make the right decision for all of us.
Right.
I think a lot of people thought I'd join one of the J's, one of the JK, the JKSs, which I did consider.
I remember having a conversation with a certain individual that was just mortified that you'd not joined.
Yeah, and I just think it'd just be more of the same. And I think it was such a violent upheaval from the KGB. I just didn't want anything like that. And at the time, the HDKI was maybe 200 people, maybe. It was international still, but it was 200 people in GB, and it was new. I was only a couple of years old at the time.
It must have been like thinking, again, joining something, but even for ourselves, like when we joined, you're joining something that is a growing thing, and it's quite exciting.
It's exciting to be part of something new.
There's something new and different.
And being told you can have these opportunities.
Absolutely.
Because you obviously have to do what you think is best for your students and your peers, but also there's nothing wrong with sometimes what's best for me, because again, I need to be happy. I need to be satisfied as an instructor going into this group and trusting the people and knowing the people. And I like Simon's karate and Scott's karate. It's obviously like otherworldly good, right? And like I remember on that course there were some decent people there, and just thinking, we can make this work. And then, like I say, very quickly a lot of people started to join. Like I think it was Jason, my friend in Brighton, who was the first club to join the HDKI following us in, and then, like I say, there's St Helens, the Hale Wood, Chris Thomas, Ian Roberts, and those guys joined. So very quickly we found a community growing around us. Like Liverpool has always been known for good karate, and I remember like we had the conversation of we want to still have that good karate reputation, whether we're with the KGB or not. We want to be able to say, okay, the HDKI has a good karate reputation in Liverpool as well, which I'd like to think it does, So we joined the HDKI and we've not looked back. There was a few wobbles, I think when the association grew from 200 people to 600 people in the matter of months, there was a lot of teething troubles, right? This was before you guys joined. But again, that's such a huge increase.
Again, everybody's you've got people got expectations, this, that, they've come from one thing, and it's difficult.
But now I think, well, five and a bit years later, we're there, right? I think we're near about the 1,000 member mark, and we've had some brilliant people come. We've had some brilliant people go, unfortunately, but a lot of people have come and they've stayed. Again, the list goes on, right? But I think we've turned the HDKI GB into like a really good.
But again, I think I think that thing of like going from like this regiment, it could be a regimented like association. Again, people like it. We've been there, but sometimes just going from that to then maybe something like how the HDKI is, it is like so different.
Yeah, for sure.
It's too much.
This is it, and I think especially when I as I said, when I left KGB, 27 years of age, like still very much like I want to compete and blah 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 blah. And then when I joined the HDKI, it was like I don't know if I do still want that, but let's try the squad and see how that goes, and realizing, well, hang on, I was just in a squad which had a 50-year base, and some very good instructors and some very good competitors and a really good pedigree into this grassroots squad. It's a very different beast, you know, and that change of expectation.
Well, that has it's got its own challenge, hasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And then, you know, we're in the HDKI GB now, and, you know, like we've got Northern Squad this Saturday, as long as it doesn't snow, and National Squad with John and Julie Sensei next weekend, and we're preparing for a competition in Japan. Do you know what I mean? So it's transformed, you know, and it's amazing.
And just, why you've just said that there. So there is a, you know, the HDKI World Championships is in Japan this year.
It is, yeah.
And, you know, what a fantastic...
That's cool, isn't it? I mean, I keep saying I'm retiring from competition. I'm trying so hard to retire from competition. I remember saying Dublin, what would it be, 2025 was my last one. Not 2024, sorry, it's this year, isn't it? 2024. Yeah. And then Scott Sensei turned around and was like, it's Japan next. I was like...
So
Japan will be my last one then. And so I did our nationals in October 2025 and...
is it just because you're sort of like losing the love for competing, or it's just not your like prerogative really?
Yeah, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not hungry for it. And I think if you're still just doing it because, stop. You know, like I did our nationals last year because I didn't want to go to Japan not having competed for 2 years.
Of course, yeah.
I did the competition in Italy because Paolo Sensei dropped it on me the night before, which was very kind of him. Thank you, Sensei. And I'm competing in Japan because it's Japan. You know, I've never competed in Japan, and like I'll perhaps never have that opportunity again. You know, so I want to do it, and then that will be my
swan song.
And I will not be doing another one. But yeah, I think if you're not hungry for it, don't.
Well, one,
you know,
your opponent could get injured, or you could get injured.
I could get injured. It's like for sure. Like,
and I know you mentioned Paolo Sensei there, and again, this was someone I'd not heard of till recently. So I just wanted to bring that because I know he's quite a big inspiration of yours, and just fill us in, Paolo Sensei. What's the story? Because again.
I never heard of him until Scott Sensei and the Hombu Dojo guys talked about him a lot, and him along with Steve Hubel Sensei are the two instructors. They were like, you have to train with these two. So I remember always saying to Scott Sensei, if you get Paolo Sensei over, let me know. I'll have him in Liverpool for a night, which thankfully happened. Right, so that was May last year. Like I've had a few watershed moments in karate, and training with Paolo was a big one. Right, a personal student of Shirai Sensei in Italy, trained with him for a very, very long time, got to a very senior grade in Shotokan Karate, JKA Italy, has done a lot of Chinese martial arts to a very, very high standard. I don't want to say specifics because I don't know and I don't want to get it wrong, but trained to a very, very high standard, has begun his own style called Makotake in Italy, and he's just... I can't do him justice, like train with him. Like I've got him for a weekend in May in Liverpool because like off the back of last year, I was like, you're coming back and you're coming back for longer and I want to train with you more. He's just brilliant. You know, I don't want to say he's a karate man. I don't want to say he's a kung fu man. He's just a pure martial artist. You know, lives and breathes it. So I'd recommend him to anyone. Like,
had he trained in Japan as well?
He has been in Japan.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure.
I don't know whether he lived there or not for a long period of time, but he's been out there and he's been out to China.
Yeah, it's certainly the bits he, obviously I see the bits he's put out. I was unfortunately I couldn't make it to the one last year, but I certainly would like to train with him.
Yeah, I mean,
and Steve Hubel Sensei as well. Again, from what I've heard, what I've seen, very very knowledgeable.
Yeah, for
deep
sure.
Thinking.
Yes,
martial artists.
Like trained with Nakayama Sensei in the Hoitsuken. I believe he was the first student of the Hoitsuken. Again, I don't know that verbatim, but I think that's right. And he's just followed that his whole life through. You know, so like I think it's fair in saying they're chalk and cheese. You know, Steve Sensei and Paolo Sensei in their approach. Like one is very regimented by the book. This is the way, and then the other is a little bit more. Yeah, let's go with the flow and feel and see how it works. That might be a very like unfair standardization of their martial arts, but I don't think it's too far off the mark. But yeah, I think, like, yeah, I mean, anyone who Scott Sensei wants to train with on a regular basis, it's worth training with them on a regular basis, you know, if you're able to.
And I think that, again, I've said it before in the podcast, that during COVID, I think it opened a lot of doors or a lot of windows into the, you know, the martial art community or the karate community, for people to see what all these other people are about.
Yep, for sure. And just realizing, that is out there.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's so many good karateka.
I almost think that was like a little bit of the genie out of the bottle, a little bit.
Yep. Yeah. Well, for sure. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, as you say, when you're watching it, it's one thing, like, because obviously, like, Scott Sensei and others put a lot on YouTube. When COVID happened and everyone was on Zoom and everyone was glued to the screen a lot more, like, you were given these insights into people and practices that you've never seen before. And then, like, it did make you hungry to want to train with them, right? Because, you know,
I just don't get it as a martial artist or, you know, or a karate student. Like, why wouldn't you want to go and train, you know, with
anyone and everyone?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, because the argument is, well, why do you need to go and train with them?
Because I want to. At its most basic level, because I want to.
Yeah.
I do karate and they're good at karate, so I want to train with them. Yeah. Done. That should be enough.
That should be enough. But in our group, we've got these people.
Yeah, I know, and I've trained with them before. Now I want to. Yeah. This is it, right? Like, it's my time. It's my life. You know, I'm going to do with it what I want. Yeah. You know, so it's not going to harm anyone by me going and training with this person. You know, like,
and certainly coming out of you know, COVID and everything that you went through, you know, like, obviously I seem picked up on your saying of, like, obviously karate without borders, which obviously I think you might tell me wrong, but just seemed like a little bit of a dig at a lot of some of these people that said that. Maybe it started, I don't know. My thought was maybe it started like that, but then obviously I would say, not everyone's like going around like, karate without borders, but seeing that saying how it annoys people.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. It really annoys certain groups or individuals, you know, but is that because their hands are tied and they can't train with other people? You know, but we've had this thing of like, it should be like that. It doesn't, my dream would be that, yes, you can have someone from that association, and we, you know, and in certain places it does happen, but like without any
this is it,
drama,
right?
Or anything that the arguments I would get was like, well, why do you want to train with people like that? Or it was like, I saw you had Matt Price, you know, like, you know, what can he teach you? And it's like, hold on right there. You know, like, what can he teach us? And it's a lot. You know, or it might have been something against like Richard Amos, and it was like, right, he has forgotten more than you know. So I don't know where you think, I don't know where they think they are on with their own karate journey, but it's like, you're nowhere near Richard Amos.
Yeah,
you know, it's
sure.
Just that small mind. I just find like it's like a small mindedness. I think, or they're so trapped within the cult mindset of it, they just can't see their way is it, and that's that.
This is it. I mean, like, look, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result, right? Like, so again, I think I like training with different people because I like it. It's as simple as that. I love karate, so I love training with as many different people as possible. I don't care who they are. If they've got something to teach, I want to learn it, right? And there's some brilliant karateka out there now. Like, I'm in a situation now where I don't have an instructor. You know, I've been responsible for my own training since I left the KGB. So I go and train with everyone and anyone who's got anything to teach, right? Because I don't.
You want to be inspired,
exactly. You know, and I want to be able to take these ideas and take them back to my own training and do it, right? I think, like, it boils down to why do they say no?
Yes.
Why do people say no?
Money.
Money is a big one.
Power.
Insecurity is a big one. Power is a big one. Ego is a big one.
Yeah.
And those all interconnect and interchange and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I mean, just ignore them. I just go and train.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's your time. It's your time. Like if you go to a gym and then you go to another gym, like your gym doesn't call you up and say, "Oh, we heard you were squatting 5 miles down the road yesterday. Like, how dare you?" They don't care. Like at the end of the day, you're paying both.
Yeah.
Like
you are the paying customer.
Like one of my students, one of my black belts, goes and trains with an instructor down in Chester, like every week, every other week, and I'm like, yeah, do it. He's got stuff I can't offer.
Yeah,
you know.
But they've got that take, or that person moves differently. It's like with having Matt Sensei and seeing how he moves.
Yeah, for sure. Or even just like they could be saying exactly the same thing, like but in just a slightly different way that makes it click for someone. You know, you see that all the time, right? So why not? It's like I say to my guys, like for instance, if there's a HDKI event on a Saturday, and it's that between the HDKI and another event, prioritize the association, unless it's a sucker sensei is coming over and teaching in England, and it's your once in a lifetime opportunity to train with him. I'd probably be going with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think like that, everyone's usually got a list of like people, like if they're in the country, I'm gonna.
So for sure, like prioritize your association, but go and do what you want. Go and do what you want. You know,
life is short.
Exactly. You know, I've got Simon Oliver Sensei coming to Liverpool on the 1st of February. He's not HDKI. I know he has done Shotokan, but I know he also does another style of karate. Like, I've not had a phone call saying, why have you invited him and not a HDKI instructor? Yeah, like, because he's really good at karate.
Yeah.
He's a good man. I've known him for a long time, and I want him to come and teach.
Yeah.
Done.
It was like
Job
seeing,
done. You know,
it was like
it's
seeing
like,
it's like seeing the course that's going to be in. Is it in Nottingham?
Oh, with Matt and Ronnie and Aidan and John. Like, amazing.
You
like
look see that lineup and it's like
awesome.
Yeah. All those different associations, and I mean, it was like having when we had asked John to come and teach us, and he was on the podcast, and just hearing his take on it, and just that thing of he's just there doing his own thing. He's happy doing his own thing, but he's there. He's got a lot to
offer. I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, and we've got
we're together here in March.
Yeah.
We're in Liverpool together in July, and we're going to organise one for the back end of the year down his neck of the woods.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's going to be fantastic. You know, like the one here is fully booked. I imagine Liverpool one will be, and hopefully the one down south will be as well. But why not?
Yeah.
You know, why not?
And that's the thing. It doesn't always have to be in like a massive sports hall, and you're trying to have that picture of like massive numbers just to say, oh, look what we're doing. You know, obviously the dojo here is a bit smaller, but you can get a fair few people in here, and you're getting a more personal, personal course. You know, I think that a lot of time that you do see that. But I mean, even before I left to Jake England, I had that hope of Sensei did. Oh, you had him up in Liverpool, right?
Yeah. Like what an achievement. You know,
apparently it was nothing to do with you.
For a lot of people. Well, I mean, I'm not. At the end of the day, I'm not bothered about that because he taught in Liverpool.
Yeah.
So regardless of,
and what a fantastic thing for Liverpool.
Exactly, and what a fantastic thing for Ota Sensei. Because I remember talking to him and showing him around Liverpool, and he was saying though he came up with an Ota Sensei often, he never got he never got to teach in Liverpool, and so I was able to show him around, and we took him to Chinatown, and so even being like a very small part in making that happen was fantastic, because I was able to bring Ota Sensei, or was able to help bring Ota Sensei to people who had never trained with him. And it was awesome. It was great. And I'd love to have him back. I know he enjoyed it, and he said he wanted to come back, and I'd love to have him come back. And I'd invite everyone. I'd invite anyone, everyone. I don't care.
I think it's just it's like breaking the bond again. Like people will see like with John as well that like there's a guy there been involved with different associations, and he's just gone, bugger it, I'm on my own.
Yeah.
And he's there killing it.
That's
Well,
on
fine.
his own.
this is it, right? So like I've got friends in JK, KGB, JKS, and you know I've said to them, will you come and teach for me? Or they've said, can you come and teach for us? And then they've been told no because of the group he's with, or whatever, or various other reasons. Then it's sort of like, what happens in 20 years' time where these chief instructors are dead? Like, are we still not going to get along?
Yeah, because those
chief instructors from decades ago didn't get along with each other. Like it was
just passed down. Oh no, we don't get on with them.
It's exactly it's
why?
crazy. You know, it's crazy, and yet like you hear the stories of the JK and the JKS instructors in Japan meeting up for pints every night because they're all mates.
Yeah.
But the JK and JKS don't get along. It's crazy. You know.
I mean, I remember we trained together. Again, this was even before we'd left JK England. You know, Ota Sensei
I went to
Sheffield,
wasn't it? Yeah. And I went down and trained, and
it was an open course, and Sensei said at the time, he says, look, you know, associations and all that sort of stuff aside, we're just here to train.
Yeah. I don't care about the badge on the dogi. I care about who's wearing it. I want to train. I want to train with the person, not with the group.
Yeah.
You know, like when we went to Japan the first time, 2018, we were still with the KGB. And I remember, like, we were all going, oh, are they going to be okay with us? Because KGB JK split wasn't a pleasant one, right? And we got there and they were just made up to see us. Yeah. They were absolutely, Red Triangle Brennan. They remembered who Frank was. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming. They were so welcoming.
Let it go.
Exactly.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
again, let's not dredge it back up, right? But like, I still happily teach KGB clubs. I train with KGB people. I am invited to teach at KGB dojos, and I invite KGB people to come to my courses. Like, I was hurt quite badly by some people in the KGB. It's not the association's fault.
Nope.
You know, it's not the association's members' fault. I may have issue with individuals within the group. I'm not going to take it out on the group.
No.
It's as simple as that.
That's
you know, and that's how it should be. This is why
yeah.
when people say politics, it never is. It's personal.
Yeah.
It's always personal.
Yeah.
I don't like
personal.
that instructor. That instructor doesn't get along with that instructor, and blah 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 blah. And if it isn't personal, that's when it becomes money. That's when it becomes ego. That's why it becomes like I obviously get paid when I do seminars, right? Because it's my job. But I'm not at home counting the courses I'm teaching and adding up. Like, my club is my business.
Yeah.
That's my bread and butter. And then like the courses are a nice bonus, essentially. But you know what? I'm not
But
like
it's about building
taking courses from people because I need to make more money. It's like, no, that's what my job is for, you know, and like that's how it should be.
But I look at like karate without borders. It's like building bridges as well with people. Like we've talked about this before. Like
sure.
it's like you say, when these instructors
Yeah.
are no longer with us, then
Like, are we still not going to be allowed to train together because they didn't get along 20 years ago? It's ridiculous.
It's
crazy.
I still sort of have a little laugh to myself because when on that course at Sheffield, we were partnered up a bit. Ota Sensei kept, even though I kept trying to hide behind you, I think at times because he was pulling me up all the time to be his hooky. And I remember him saying he said to, between me and you, he was like, "Yeah, look after him." I kept saying, "Just look after him." So I was like, I think he must have known that eventually we probably were, we was, we're going to leave or train together more and stuff. But that aside, I hope the karate community does. The wider karate community does embrace not that there's a big thing in there's T-shirts everywhere saying karate without borders, but I hope they become a little bit more open.
Yeah, I mean, I only started using it like hashtag karate without borders, right? Purely because not so much to rub it in people's faces. That's completely the wrong message, but it was just to say I'm still here. Yeah, essentially, I'm still doing my karate. I'm doing what I want, where I want, with who I want, and like Damo and I would travel up. We'd train in Matt Sensei's in his basement, the dojo in his basement. HDKI, JKS. We'd train, and it was all over social media. And Matt didn't mind, and we didn't mind, and it was great, And I trained with JK, and I'd go down to Aiden Trimble Sensei's dojo, And I've taught with Aiden Trimble Sensei, and I've taught with so it was just it's out there, and it's just an idea. It's not a movement. Like, it's not an association. It's just, hey,
it's a way
come
of
and
thinking.
train. Come and train.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Come and train.
Yeah.
Simple. And anyone who wants to put any more meaning on it than that is trying to make it something it isn't. It is just come and train. Simple as that. You know, because that's how it should be. And as I've said, I'm not looking for a world without karate organizations. Like I said earlier on, I joined the HDKI because I needed to be part of an association.
I think it's good to be, it is like, you know, like John's, like I was saying, John's happy being like by himself, and he's giving him up all these opportunities to teach with like all these other people. Some people want that, the regiment of like having an association. I like, you know, I'm pretty sure we're all agreed here. We like to be part of association.
Sure, I would say there's lots of benefits to being part of a group. It's just you need to be part of the right group, and just train what you want. Like I say, prioritize your group maybe, unless it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to do something. But as I say, for 99% of people out there, it's a hobby. Enjoy it. Do what you want.
Just watch
Absolutely.
out. Just watch out for the culty vibes. But they well, moving on from karate.
Can we just go back?
Is that all right?
No, I'm interested.
Yeah.
So how? I've got to ask it. How did you get Sensei over to Liverpool? What was there a process? Was it conversation?
Well, I think like me and Dave get along right, and I went to Crawley one winter, and then I went to Sheffield, and I think it was off the back of the Sheffield one where I was sort of like, if you're going to do another one, I'd love it to be in Liverpool. And that was sort of it, really. And then we started talking, and we found a date, and I was sending him the odd venue, sort of like, this would be okay, and this would be okay. And like I basically just provided info, right? That was all. Like, that was the only part I played. And then when they showed up, like, I met them, and I gave them a little tour, and we went out for dinner, and blah 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 blah. So that was it, essentially. You know, just about I trained Devoto Sensei, love his classes. I think he's a really great karate man. Got along with Dave, still do. Like, that was it. You know, like, can this happen? And whatever needs it to be called, like a JK open course, if that's what it needs to be called to get him here, that is what we will do. Yeah. And that was it. And like, I'd love it if Devoto Sensei came back to Liverpool, because every single person who went to that course loved it. You know, a lot of my students went from my club. It was their first time training with a Japanese instructor, which was amazing for them, because, you know, you do a Japanese martial arts. It's always special to train with Japanese martial arts for the first time. There were some guys who hadn't trained with Devoto Sensei since before the split. You know, so that was 30 years ago now. Yeah. Well, no, 20 years ago. Sorry, 20 years ago. So it was really special for them to see someone they hadn't seen in a long time. And his
karate is great.
His really good, right? And he did a really, really good class, and everyone enjoyed it. So it was as simple as that. I asked the question, and it happened. You know, and as I've said, I've asked some questions before, and unfortunately the answer has been no. The answer in some cases has been, I'd love to teach for you, but I won't teach for the HDKI, or I can't teach for the HDKI. And again, this is my argument of, well, what happens in 20 years when chief instructors are dead? You know, like, are we still going to have this animosity? Yeah. Hopefully not. And I'm hoping that by just trying to build these bridges now.
Well, ultimately, they're going to make money for coming to teach as well.
Well, this is it. If you say no to me, you're just saying no to a payday. And again, like, I'm not going to... if you say no, I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll ask someone else. You know, and I'd love to train with you. But if you say no, I'll come and train with you when you do another course, and I will really enjoy that. Okay, it's not in my home. I'll travel to train with you, because if I've asked you to come to my dojo, I'm more than happy to go elsewhere to train with you, right? And I think this is a big thing as well with the Karate Without Borders, which is something I do. And like, Tony and I were talking earlier on actually about like which road trips we're going to do to go train with people. Like, we're going to go try and see George next Thursday, because I love training with George Best Sensei. He's amazing.
Can you put a word in for the podcast when you see him?
Yes, I will. I'm sure he'd love to come down and do it. But yeah, it's like, practice what you preach, you know. So don't just say this is an open course and everyone will come and it's Karate Without Borders. Go and train elsewhere. That's the big thing. You know, it's like someone has to open the door. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, go there first. Like I did a Three Amigos course.
Oh yeah,
last year.
yes. I've seen those advertised.
With Simon Oliver Sensei, John Johnson Sensei, Steve Lowe Sensei, and it was incredible. Right, like I've trained with Simon before, not for a long time, but I've never trained with John before. Steve. Amazing karate, and really nice people there as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's just a whole group of karateka I've never met before.
Yeah.
Now suddenly they're calling me up saying, "Oh, you've got this course on. We want to come and train." So by me simply, I've got a free Sunday, I'll go. Now suddenly I'm getting phone call. When have you got a course on? We want to come to this. We want to come to that. Hey, we've got this on. Can you come to that? Do you know what I mean? So don't just say it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Yes.
Like it's got to be done.
Yeah, and that a bit like the podcast really is that fact that again, there's karateka out there that have got a story to tell, and just like that, something to learn from them within their story, or
Absolutely.
they're going to train with them and learn from them. So moving away from that, but I see you do a bit of work with Shotokan Karate online.
Yeah, so this is Lyndon's baby, right?
Okay.
This is Lyndon. So as I said, I still
Because I had not really heard of it. I might have seen it online, but
Lyndon's, as well as teaching karate, Lyndon's trade is an online marketer, right?
Oh, okay.
So he's always had the dream of online karate and blah 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 blah. So he started it during the lockdown, as a lot of people did, Zoom sessions. So we were doing 5 sessions a week. We've got online videos and articles and blah 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 blah. Like you'd have to ask him how many members there are, but we teach Zoom sessions and we still do 4 a week.
Wow.
And yeah, it's amazing. I've got
You're not sick of Zoom then?
No, to be honest, I never had an issue teaching on Zoom.
Okay.
I must admit, I know a lot of people didn't like it. I never had an issue with it. I have to say, I know I'm probably one of the only people who didn't. I shouldn't say I hated doing karate at home, because it was really nice to be asked, but you did it. Right, then Facebook Live, where you can't see them.
No,
that was awful. That was really difficult. But no, I always enjoyed the Zoom, and I think now the community has been going so long. And like there's guys from the UK, Ireland, Germany, America, Barbados, all over, right? Yeah. All come together a couple of times a week and just do some karate. And it's really cool, and we actually did our first in-person course last year.
Oh, awesome.
In August in the Lake District. I felt really bad because we had it all booked. And it was the weekend that I taught with Rick Houghton Sensei. So it was like, I didn't know how to tell Lyndon that we had this big weekend course booked, and I was like, I don't want to say no to Rick. So I called Lyndon it, and Lyndon was like, of course, go and teach with Rick. So drove down to Basingstoke on the Saturday, taught with Rick, and then drove up to the Lake District on the Saturday night, and I was wiped. But it was amazing, right? And like I say, people had flown in from Germany and from America for this course in the Lake District, which had started from this online community that Lyndon built during COVID, and it's still going on. And we're doing the residential course next year in August, and it's just getting bigger and better. It's really cool.
Awesome.
It's really cool. Yeah. So, like I say, still teaching with Lyndon.
Yeah.
All these years later.
Well, how cool is that then as well?
Amazing. It is amazing. Yeah. He's a good guy.
Oh, no. Keep us posted about that then, because that'd be...
Well, for sure, he turns up to every course I do in Liverpool, so I have no doubt you will meet him at some point.
It'd be interesting to, if he fancied coming on the podcast, because again, it sounds like he's got some stories to tell.
He's got all the stories to tell.
But what you said there, obviously you talked with Rick Houghton, and Rick is on the list of someone I would love to train with, and hopefully I'll get the chance of doing that again. Well, doing that at some point. What was it like teaching with him?
That was really cool. That was really cool. That is probably, in all honesty, the most nervous I've ever been teaching, because I can honestly, there was about 100 people there. I can honestly say not a single person in that room was there for me. It's like they were there to train with Rick, and I was the sideshow, And of course, it's Rick Houghton Sensei, right?
But again, he got really shot. I would have said sort of started to shot to more popularity and people knowing who he is because of COVID, I would imagine.
Yeah, so it was his YouTube videos, right? So it was Scott Sensei who first got him over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like just from YouTube videos, say it was similar to John, right?
Yep.
Like from YouTube videos, now he's teaching all over the world. And yeah, Rick's just awesome. He is that Miyagi. Do you know what I mean? He is. He's a, like I say, I was driving up to the Lake District. So we went for dinner afterwards and I was only going to stay for half an hour just to be polite and then go. And I was there for 3 hours just talking to the man, because it was my first time meeting him. Yeah. Like I wanted to train with him loads of times before. And like Tony had been down to train with him and Chris Gray had been down to train with him in the past. But it was always on squad dates with the KGB, which you couldn't miss. So it was like, I've got to train. I've got to do squad training. So I always missed it. So that was my first time seeing him. And while I was teaching mine, I was trying to have half an eye on what he was doing, which maybe I shouldn't have done, but I didn't see anything. But no, it was just an amazing experience. And again, very much like I'm looking to my right and going, that's Rick Harton Sensei. And then sort of kneeling in Cesar and looking over my shoulder and being like, there's 100 people behind me. Like that was amazing. And it was just sort of like, yeah, this is like, again, what a privilege to be asked to do that. It was amazing. And thankfully everyone enjoyed my class. So I wasn't so much the side piece by the end of it, I think. But yeah, it was a good day.
Do you think you'll get the chance to teach with them again?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Hope so. I mean, I'd love to, or I'd love for someone else to teach with him and I get to go and train, and then either way, I'll have a great day,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to get out to his dojo in Florida.
Yes.
That would be a great place to go to be sure. So I'd like to try and get out there one day.
Yes, another guest for the podcast would be awesome as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we'll have to take the podcast on the road though, boys. So, but yeah, so your clubs that you've got, is it Randori?
Yep.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to pronounce the other one.
I don't think I can say it myself. Fenikkusu. So yeah, the two of them. So Fenikkusu is Japanese for Phoenix.
Yes.
Quite a cliche name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tony chose that for the group of seniors who left the triangle with me. We wanted to stay together. We wanted to train together. That is the name that we chose. Like you've probably seen the badge, which is the Phoenix. And yeah, that's that name. I think its name speaks for itself, right? Yeah. Rising from the ashes and coming back. So we train together a couple of times a week. So that's myself, Tony, John, Dan, Christine. Some of my students come along. Some of John's students come along. We have guests come over all the time. And we just get stuck into it, and that's great. And we travel anywhere and everywhere together. So that's that one. And then Randori that's my baby. So that's my own club. Yeah. Randori has a couple of meanings. So the first meaning is laundry.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys knew this, but during COVID, when we were looking for someone to train, we trained in an industrial laundry unit.
I did see that. I kept looking again. That must be warm in there.
It was freezing.
Oh, right.
It was absolutely freezing. Because nothing was on. It was COVID, right?
Yeah.
So, and because elite athletes and like bubbles and professional instructors could continue to train. So that was where we trained, right? And we just put Tommy down and went for it. Yeah. So that's that. It also means free sparring. It's not a term often used in Shotokan. Other styles of karate and judo use it a lot more. Like we'd use jukumite normally. Randori can mean free sparring. And then the other meaning I found, which I thought was perfect, it can mean controlling chaos, but it also means grasping freedom. Yeah. Which, considering I renamed my club very shortly after I left, it just felt right. Yeah. It's sort of like, oh, well, we do a lot of fighting and laundry. Oh, it's quite funny and it's got that meaning to it, but also grasping freedom. It was like, okay, that's the one. That's us. So, yeah, those are my two.
And going strength to strength and
touch wood. Yeah. It's going okay. So like Jen keeps telling me we're over 100 members. I've had a few more joined up this year. I've got a fair few more booked in for trials in January. So the hope is
that 100 is like a magic number, isn't it? Like it's trying to either break it. Yeah. And then sustain it. Yeah, it's such an odd number.
I know. I think it's a good milestone, right? I went full time with about 50 students, and that was really tight. So now having those three figures, creeping ever closer to that 150, right? But yeah, I mean that's the goal, to get to that 150, then to get to that 200. Then I will start looking at a full-time premises, not dissimilar to what Scott Sensei has in Dublin.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember when, so I went to Dublin for the first time in December 2020. I taught their Christmas course for them with Simon. And I remember Scott Sensei offered me a job. He said, if you wish, come to Dublin, be one of the instructors here, you know. And I remember having a really hard think about it. And there was lots of reasons why I stayed. But one of them was that, no, I want what you've got
in the UK
for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I said,
well, you can see there it's achievable. So
for sure. You've got that fantastic like goal, you know, like again, someone with a target on their back, you know, because I want that in the UK. I want to be able to offer what he does. I want to be able to offer internships and all of that in the UK. So that is the plan.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that is a great idea and
I do.
a good thing, because obviously you went over and did the internship, and obviously we've had Sean go over there and do it recently, and it was you know, just as Sean's friend, it was good to be able to say, look, you are in a position where you can go and do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let us back you up.
Yeah,
you know, me, Andy, his brother James, you know, let us back you up while you go and do that, you know. And you can already see like what a fantastic learning experience that was, or like what he got out, because you're going to get out what you get out of it, whatever you want to get out of it, right? But like certainly you can come back full of beans and you know,
full of ideas and invigorated, you know.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was a good time.
And no, but well, I certainly, if you do get a place, you know, dab hand with a paintbrush, I'll come and give you an hand by mate. And James knows a thing or two about roofing and things like that. So you know, like I think you could be onto a winner there, Stuart. But you know, karate's been a major part of your life, you know, since childhood. And looking back, what would you say that karate has given you beyond the physical skill?
Oh gosh, it's hard to separate, because like I say, I've been doing it for 26 years, right? I can't remember not doing it. I can't imagine not doing it. Like I remember even when I was choosing my A-levels at school, and like the careers advisor asking what do you want to do, and I was like, I want to teach karate, and them scratching their heads and going, I don't know what to advise, you know? So like I think just the opportunity to meet people has been really quite profound. You know, like people from all walks of life. You know, karate is a universal language. You know, we all just speak it with a slightly different accent. You know, I've been all over the world doing it, whether it's competing or teaching, meeting people from all different backgrounds, you know, has been really quite special. You know, like I say, I've met my partner of 5 years through karate, you know, so like even that has changed my life completely, because I can't imagine not being with her now as much as I can't imagine not doing karate, you know. I think like the cliches of confidence and all of that, sure, why not? It's like, I can't say I wouldn't have that without karate, because I don't know, because I've not met Stuart who didn't do karate, you know. But no, I think just the opportunities that it has afforded me, you know, of traveling, of meeting people, of having a different outlook on life to lots of other people, you know.
I think that thing of, like you're saying there, like going around and meeting new people, or someone ringing you up going, you might not even know them, but I've seen you, you know, online and on YouTube. I want you to come and teach a course, and you're going to meet someone new. Yeah, you know, it's no different than when I reached out to you to say, "Will you come and teach for us?"
Yeah, absolutely. We'd never met before. No. You know, never met you guys before. Like, this is it. You know, so
and just those opportunities and the connections that you possibly you might not make a connection. You'll go there, they enjoyed it. That's it.
this is it.
But the connections that you'll make along the way can be invaluable.
For sure, yeah. So I don't like if I joined the army or I'd got a different stressful job or even just a really stressful office job, you know, it might have given me a very different resilience and a very different skill set, which, you know, would be equally as good, you know. But it has given me opportunities that I might not have had otherwise. You know, it has opened different doors, and I've met some brilliant people who I wouldn't otherwise have met. You know, like I did door work for 8 years. Like as I said, I'm a Southern softie doing security work in Liverpool for 8 years. Like that shouldn't have been on the cards for me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's like if
you just heard the Terry O'Neill stories, didn't you? And you wanted to get in.
Sure. But you know that should never have been something that happened to me. But it did. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't have gone to Kenya teaching karate, but I did, you know. So like that kid who grew up in Bedfordshire is now traveling the world doing this amazing thing with these amazing people, you know. So yeah, I just think the opportunities that I've had that I might not otherwise have had, you know, like it has given me a unique life experience, you know, sometimes for the worse, sometimes for the better, you know. So
I mean, if you you know, looking back, you know, on your karate journey, if you were looking back at yourself at like 16 years old, say, you know, what advice would you, knowing what you know now, what advice, or from your karate journey, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self?
I think I would advise, without going back into like the court drama, let's ignore that side of things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say to myself, go to Japan much earlier. I would say go there for longer. Not because I think the karate I did there was any better than the karate I've done with Western instructors, but I just think that mindset it gave me was really, really important. And if I'd known that at a younger age and was able to go there at a younger age and spend more time there, that might have been really fundamental and a game changer. I think I would have encouraged myself to experiment with other like I did a bit of jiu-jitsu when I started doing door work, and like I said, Lyndon got different style instructors to come, and like I did a bit of Goju-ryu with Damien. I would have advised myself to do that a little bit more. But yeah, I think maybe just try to enjoy it a bit more at the time. You know, like a lot of the enjoyment from karate comes after the fact. Yeah. You know, like you've got through a tough class, like you've done a hard squat session, like you can train hard with a smile. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I do karate 6 days a week, you know, sometimes 7 if I've booked a course or something. Like, imagine being miserable, like that stone face, like grimacing 7 days a week. What a miserable existence. Do you know what I mean? Just try and enjoy it a bit more. Like you can still train hard, but enjoy it. And also, final thing, like if you do have an injury, rest. For God's sake, rest. Like you are not impressing anyone by gritting your teeth and toughing through. You are not proving anything. You are just breaking yourself, you know, and we only have one body. Yes. Like, and I've had a few bad injuries. I've been lucky that I've been able to avoid surgery, but it's probably going to come one day. You know, it's the lifestyle I've chosen, you know, like surgery seems to be on the cards for a lot of us, you know, so like just look after yourself a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when you said that, obviously when you trained in Japan, you know, I am sure I heard that, you know, I think was it Sheena Sensei had you out demonstrating or teaching a particular move?
Yeah, so we did Sheena Sensei's Kumite class, and I won with an Ashurima Washigari, which he really enjoyed. And he had me teaching his junior grades how to do the kick at the end of the session, which was amazing, you know. So technically I've taught in Japan, but none of the guys got a picture of it or a video, and I can't, all the things you took pictures of on that trip, you didn't get any of that. But yeah, that was a
never
cool
let them forget that.
No, I won't. There is a video of me scoring the kick, but there's not a video of me of teaching afterwards, which in hindsight was definitely the more like memorable part of that moment, right? But yeah, that was very cool.
And within the the HDKI sort of like community, where do you see yourself like trying to be, or pushing things, or do you just think you're not pushing is not the right thing, but where do you see yourself within the community for the future? Or do you think you'll just be you doing your thing?
Yeah, I think I'm just me. That's it. I'm just me, and like the HDKI has given me a lot. Like I'd like to think I've done quite a lot to help the HDKI in this country. Like a lot of people have joined because of me, and like I've helped organise stuff. But it's a meritocracy, right? So like the more you put in, the more you're able to get out. So I'm not trying to be anything or anyone. I'm just doing me. And like I'm trying to make my karate better, and I'm trying to make myself better. Like Fenikkusu Sensei's first precept, like seek perfection of character. Perfection is an impossible dream, but if we all just try and be a little bit better every day, the world will be a better place, right? Yeah. So, and if we do that with our karate every day, our karate will very slowly, hopefully, improve, right? So, like, yeah, just trying to make the HDKI a better place, trying to make myself better within that place, and what will be, will be.
Yeah. I mean, I see as well, we talked about Unsu briefly, earlier on, and I was just wondering what makes you come back to that kata?
I mean, I've never left that kata to come back to it, right?
There's got to be something there, and can you put? I mean, sometimes you can't put these things into words, I guess, but there's got to be something there that makes you, that I don't know. I don't want to say, that your favourite, but there's something that connects you or the kata to you.
Yeah, I think there's one. It's really difficult, right? And I've always liked to challenge. Always, I've always liked anything I've done. If I can do it to the nth degree, I will, right? And I think Onsu is the nth degree of Shotokan. It is so difficult for so many different reasons. I think it's so violently beautiful. There is so much to it, and you watch like Yahara Sensei do it, and again, everyone will say like you watch him do it, and it is like he's fighting someone, and he looks like a maniac doing it, and it's fantastic. And then you watch like Aramoto Sensei of the JKS do it, and it's just technically perfect, and there's just so many strings to its bow. It is so Shotokan, but it's so un-Shotokan. I think it's just. Yeah, I think it's just.
I think
beautiful.
there's there's the certain katas that just speak to you, and that's
draw you in.
Yeah, for sure. And like I've loved it since I first saw it, and I've done it ever since. It's been good to me. Like I've found success with it on a competition level, but even deeper than that, trying to change Onsu from the lessons that I've learned within the HDKI, and like how can I start to change this into something that is me and not just for sport? Like has been really satisfying, in making this kata my own. It's great. Yeah.
Well, I just want to ask you one more thing, and then I'm gonna hand you over to Andy. But it's like if someone could take like one lesson away from this conversation that we've had this evening, like what would you want it to be?
Oh gosh, enjoy yourself. Like karate is the best thing you can do. Like it's a fantastic thing. Enjoy it your way, and as long as you're not hurting anyone, like obviously like not in a fighting way, but if you're not hurting anyone from your actions, like just go and do it, right? Like don't let anyone tell you no.
Well, again, thank you very much for the conversation this evening.
Really good.
I will hand you to his lordship for his questions.
Okay, so I was going to start with favourite kata, if I'm honest with you, but I think we've already covered that, haven't we? So we'll sort of skip onwards. So, favourite kata for bunkai?
Onsu again.
Onsu again.
Onsu again. Yeah, I think, move away from poking people in the eye and falling on the floor and kicking them. There's some really nice applications in there when you realise like that what the shapes can be and everything. It can become quite nasty. I've trained with Peter Constantine Sensei a couple of times, not as much as I should do, but a couple of times, and he's brilliant. And he talks a lot about preemptive stuff. And like I did Onsu for my 5th dan with the HDKI, where you have to do a lot of bunkai, and I'll probably do it again for my Rokudan when the time comes. And hopefully they will see a massive change and improvement. But I want to try and find a way to do the bunkai purely preemptively.
Okay.
Because again, also in a self-protection way, if they're attacking you, it's almost too late, right? Yeah. And often, if someone is pushing that boundary, like preemptive strike in the court of law, like if you feel in danger, you can hit first.
Yes. Yeah.
Which often isn't taught in bunkai, but in self-protection is paramount, right? So is there a way I can make my Onsu bunkai preemptive?
Yeah.
So that's the journey. I'm gonna go with that and see how it goes. It could be fun.
Sounds really interesting, to be fair. Sounds really good as well. Favourite technique to use in kumite?
Shirimawashi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Best male competitor?
Oh, gosh.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Past, present, whoever you want.
I think all-rounder is Frank. I mean, just as a karate competitor, a karate athlete, like he was my idol for so long, like with good reason, right? Like I know he's known for like his kicks and sweeping and kicking him on the floor, but the best technique I personally saw, I think he was fighting Ronnie Canning, who was also on the KGB England squad, but I'd have to go back and watch the video to check, but it's just Oizuki, and he just goes bang, and I'll say Ronnie, it may not have been Ronnie, I'm fairly sure it was Ronnie Canning, doesn't see him move, just nothing, no telegraph, Oizuki.
Yeah.
And it's just the quintessential Shotokan technique, just boom, beautiful. It was flawless. So like Frank for sure. Asaka Sensei's kata, you can't beat it, right? You can't. I think Richard Amos Sensei's got a brilliant passage in his book, right, where he's talking about the difference between their Soshins in Egypt. And I remember reading that passage and then watching them both online back to back like he did. And it's like, yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah, I get that. And then I think people I competed alongside, Joe Rawcliffe was on the KGB, now he's with the JKS. He left with Malvern and Chris Cray Sensei's club, who are now all doing brilliantly into JKS, right? But Joe was the most complete fighter I ever saw. He was brilliant. So yeah, Joe to be sure.
Okay. Best female competitor?
I'll give a shout out to Christine Donnelly, because like she's a hero of mine. She's still going. Trains with us every week. She's brilliant. Again, I think someone I competed with on the KGB squad, Holly Bruce. She was Holly Sterling when she would compete. Now she's married to John Bruce. Holly, she like kata, kumite, brilliant. She was only like a tiny little thing, right? And she would just fly at them into kumite like you wouldn't believe. She was a little rocket. So she was amazing into kumite. Her kata was graceful. Yeah, Holly, I'd say.
If you could pick a 5-person kumite, who would it be? Can you include yourself, by the way, if you wanted to?
No, not if we want to win. Frank, to be sure. Matt Price. George Best. Joe. Namoto Sensei.
Namoto, yeah.
Because I still watch. Have you seen the Mawashigeri where he just drops him? That's just that's beautiful.
When he catches Hager, I think it's Hager.
Yeah. All day long. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was competing, he was competing then, and it still doesn't make sense to me that he's tiny dude.
Yeah.
I've never seen such big feet. Not as in long feet, but when he presses his foot down, it just
it's
spreads.
A shovel, right? Yeah.
And how he moves from A to B like warp speed.
Yeah, no, awesome.
And then ends people.
Yeah. So good. So yeah, those are my 5.
3-person kata team.
Sean Roberts, because like I said earlier on, I think his kata was years ahead, right? Another one of Bob Rhodes Sensei's students, who, as was Randy, first KGB instructor I trained with. Sean Roberts, me and Scott. Why not?
Oh,
why not?
It's a good team. Absolutely. If you can, your greatest karate achievement.
Oh. I don't know. I don't. Like, I think we've talked about quite a few things tonight, right? Yeah, I can't pinpoint one, like, physically Shodan. Why not? Let's go for the cliche. Yeah, why not? Yeah. Easy answer. We'll do that. Yeah, okay. Done. Thanks, Lyndon, for the 2-mile run and all the torture that came after.
The instructor who's had the most lasting effect on you?
Lyndon, for sure, is like, again, I wouldn't be here doing this still. Like, he's still one of my dearest friends. Like, I can't take away what Frank gave me, even just the inspiration to be better for so many years, right? And then I think it's fair to say I could probably name any of the instructors that, like, Scott has introduced me to, like Guy Sensei, Paolo Sensei, like those guys, Richard Amos Sensei. But at the end of the day, I've only, like, maybe not so much Richard, but I've only trained with those other guys through Scott's, influence and the opportunities he's given, right? So, like, I have Scott Sensei come to Liverpool every year for a full weekend, and I always make the point of thanking him afterwards. I always say to him, like, it's not a sycophantic, like, ass kissing. It's like, no, seriously, like, you have given so many of us opportunities. Like, thank you for practicing what you preach. Yeah, so, like, Lyndon, like, Frank and Scott, to be sure.
Favorite karate moment, if you have one?
Gosh. Again, I'm lucky that there's too many to count, right? Again, like, we've spoken about Shodan, we've spoken about that first win with the team, like in Portugal with Jack and Hisham. Like, even stepping into the JK Hombu that first time and, getting that lifetime achievement of training in Japan for the first time, teaching abroad for the first time. Like, it's too many. It's too many. Like, just, do you know what? Stepping into the dojo 26 years ago and starting, that's the greatest moment, right? Because it's led to all the others. So
hardest grading you touched on earlier. So the student who made you laugh the most.
Oh. Right, Don, I will give a shout out to Joe at my club just for being Joe, because I bully Joe relentlessly, but only because I know he's 18 soon, and then I'm never going to pair up with him again because he's going to beat me up. So I will give it to Joe to make up for all of the years of abuse.
Big shout out to Joe.
And please do not beat me up too much now that you're getting bigger and faster than I am.
Tea or coffee before training?
Coffee. I drink way too much coffee. Yeah,
don't we all?
Yeah.
Any particular coffee I have to ask?
No, just black.
Just black coffee.
Just black coffee.
Not a Nescafe fan there?
No, it's as strong as it comes.
Absolutely.
Black coffee.
Favorite post-training meal?
Oh, well, I mean, the post-training meal I have 5 days a week.
Jesus.
It's always tuna and pasta with at least 2 types of veg. I have that 5 times a week, but
polish that halo.
After every competition or course, after every competition, I actually used to work for Tony Chin security, and I used to do either an 8, 10 or 12-hour shift before a competition and then after a competition. So that was fun. But as soon as I stopped doing that, I got in the habit of, after a competition, I'd always get Domino's. And I'd always order it when I'd get back into Liverpool, because my flat, I don't live in the flat anymore, but the flat was 20 minutes from sort of like the outskirts of Liverpool. So I'd call it from the outskirts and I'd race it back to the flat. So it was there ready when I got home. So there you go.
What absolute magic do they put on those pizzas though? Because they taste so good.
They taste so good, especially after a long day, right? And you just get home and just...
Which pizza? That's the other one.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Oh my God. What's the meat? The mighty
meaty.
I shouldn't be able to name it. There you go. That's how many times I've ordered that. Mighty meaty. Domino's, give us a...
can we have a deal or a shout?
A sponsorship.
A sponsorship, yeah. Lifetime pizzas, please, for Stuart. And, if you want to sponsor our way.
All of us.
And finally, if you weren't a karate sensei, what do you think you'd be doing instead?
Oh... don't know. I
working for Domino's.
All right, yeah. I'll be a Domino's driver. That's it. That will do. Yeah. No, I have no idea. I couldn't possibly tell you. Like I say, as soon as I saw Lyndon teaching, I wanted to teach, and that's the only career path I've ever thought about. So every job I've taken is to lead me to teach karate. Right? So here we are.
Well, thank you ever so much for, again, I know you've driven down here to do
through the blizzards.
But just keep being you. Yeah. And keep leading the way.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Yeah, thank you ever so much, mate. Thank you.